This meeting is being held in person. Members of the public are welcome to attend in person. Please note that while an option for remote attendance is being provided as a courtesy to the public, the meeting will not be suspended or terminated if technological problems interrupt the virtual broadcast, unless otherwise required by law. So members of the public with particular interest in any specific item on the agenda should make plans for in-person versus virtual attendance accordingly. So, good evening.
Good evening.
I'd like to start by please asking you to stand and join me in the Pledge of Allegiance. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Okay, thank you. All right, first order of business is call the meeting to order and take a roll call. Commissioner Kent Moffett.
Here.
Commissioner Ed Laturco.
Here.
Commissioner Sarah Walensky.
Here.
Commissioner Rob Sheehan. Commissioner Larry Cohen.
Here.
And for the record, the Chair, Bill Boyman, is here also. Conservation Administrator Eileen Coleman.
Here.
And Assistant Conservation Administrator Lucy Hanson.
Here.
Thank you. Okay, so next up on the agenda is public comments. Is there anyone here or online for something that is not on the agenda tonight? Let me scan the vast crowd and see. No, I see no hands online or in person. Next, we have approval of minutes. First up, May 28th, 2026. Anybody have any comments on those minutes that need to be raised? I made a couple of tiny little connect things.
Put them in there, yep.
Yep, I saw that. Okay, so in that case, can I have a motion to approve the minutes of May 28th, 2026?
Second.
All in favor? That is 600. And the minutes of June 11th, not available? Okay, not available yet. All right, let me go over a couple of items on the agenda that will not be heard tonight. Item 4, 7 Abbott Park, Burlington Gateway, a certificate of compliance, DEP 122224, has asked for continuance until our next meeting on July 9th. Can I have a motion to postpone, to continue until July 9th?
So moved.
Second.
All in favor? That's 600. Got a few of these, the continuation, so bear with me. Also, request for continuation is the continued public hearing for a notice of intent at 85 Wilmington Road, DEP 122734. Can I have a motion to continue that to July 9th?
Move.
Second.
All in favor? That passes 600. Also, a motion to continue public hearing for a notice of intent at 129 to 131 Middlesex Turnpike, DEP 122, the number is pending. I have a motion for that continuation.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor? 600.
We actually do have a DEP number now.
Okay,
737.
We didn't until yesterday.
okay. And another continuation is the notice of intent at 2 Wall Street to demolish an existing building and build a new commercial building, DEP 122732. Can I have a motion to continue that to July 9th?
That one's actually to August 13th.
Okay, motion to continue that to August 13th.
So moved.
Thank you.
Got you.
Do I have a second?
Second.
It's over.
All in favor? 600. And the last thing to just point out is item 9, the continued public hearing for notice of intent at 7A Street was previously voted to continue until July 9th, so we don't have to vote that again. So that leaves only a couple of items left on the agenda. First up is item 5A for a request for determination of applicability at 5 Marion Road. You here for that?
Yes.
Please have a seat and introduce yourself and say where you live, please.
Linda Dooley, I live at 5 Marion Road.
Okay, and can you give us a brief description of what you'd like to accomplish?
Yes, I'm proposing to install a 15 by 30 oval above-ground pool behind our home. We went through conservation when we built our house 10 years ago, so we just wanted to make sure that we were doing the proper things moving forward. The pool location is directly behind our deck within the current maintained lawn area. We're not proposing any expansion of the yard, tree removal, clearing, or disturbance of the wooded area. The pool is above ground and removable. The only ground preparation would be leveling the existing lawn area for the pool base.
Okay, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Do we have any comments from the staff?
I think that is a good summary for this. There's not a whole lot to say about it. They did have a previous filing 10 years ago for the house. They are putting in a pool. Those are the dimensions. Notably, it's 50 feet from the bordering vegetated wetlands, 60 feet we estimated from bank to a non-regulatory stream. And it's a pretty straightforward project.
Okay. Anybody have any comments on this project?
Just so you know.
Yes, Larry?
Are you doing a chlorine-based pool?
I believe we're doing salt water. We were kind of
Saltwater?
deciding between the two. Is there a preference
So in
from you?
that situation, will you have to backflush the filter to clean it? Do you have to discharge the material? Because if you do, you shouldn't aim it at wetlands.
I was planning on putting all of that on the other side of, like, closer to the house and those stairs right there, which is
Yeah.
the opposite side.
Like,
The whole filter and everything would be on that side.
but when it gets loaded with dirt, you have to backwash it. And, or change out, if it's diatomaceous earth, you have to change out the filter. And that stuff the stuff that's loaded with dirt has to be discharged.
Yep.
Before you load the new stuff in.
Right.
So we ask usually not to aim it at the wetlands, you gotta have
Okay.
it directed somewhere else.
Okay.
And usually people use some kind of a flexible hose that is 50 feet or something like that, or 25 to 50 feet, so you can kind of direct it away from
Okay,
any wetlands.
okay,
That's all.
yep. That's,
It should also not be pumped into the street.
yes,
No.
yes.
Somewhere out on the lawn where it can
Right.
infiltrate into the ground. would be
Yep.
preferred. Anything on the right here for this project?
Oh, no.
Okay, you know what? I didn't open this meeting with the legal notice, so I got to do that now. Notice is hereby given that the Town of Burlington Conservation Commission will hold a public meeting tonight here as a courtesy to the public, will also be accessible virtually via WebEx. At this meeting, the Conservation Commission will act upon a request for a termination of applicability filed by Linda and John Dooley for installation of an above-ground pool within the 100-foot buffer zone to bordering vegetated wetlands at 5 Marion Road in Burlington, Massachusetts, and will thereafter issue a determination of applicability. The application is being heard pursuant to Massachusetts General Laws, Chapter 131, Section 40, the Wetlands Protection Act, and Burlington Bylaw Article 14. You can get a copy of this application by emailing conservation@burlington.org. Okay, that makes this an official hearing now. Public meeting, I should say.
Yeah, just follow up on what Larry said too. I have an above-ground pool, but we're not near conservation. And to give you the idea, if the liner does rip, like, you have to drain that water too. So that's another thing to consider is like having to do it. We had to do it, but we were not near
Yep.
conservation. But you don't want to, like, even with that, blow it into like even stuff like you have to probably drain it so it's not in the street
Okay.
or whatever. So, but yeah, it is.
Something like this.
Ours is like, you know, is like 1,500 gallons or 15,000 gallons.
Right,
If you ever have to go down that path, heads up.
okay.
If you have kids,
3.
they're going to love the pool. Okay, so that's all we have here. Do we have, are we going to close this tonight?
Yeah,
Yep,
Okay.
I have a draft decision. Give me 1 moment.
and we will actually add a condition in about the discharge to just reflect what was.
Sure,
what was really there.
absolutely.
I have some possible words, we'll just add it as we go along.
Okay, perfect.
Oh, crazy things going on over there. All right. So this is the draft permit. I believe you were sent a copy.
Yes.
Great. It is pretty straightforward as far as permits go, easy to get through. So up top, we've got listed the applicant, the location, the plan reference, which was the, as shown on the screen, an as-built from the original house construction with the pool location sketched on. The project is described as the installation of a 15 by 30 oval above-ground pool the work occurred or will occur 50 feet from BVW and approximately 60 feet from an intermittent stream. Jurisdictional areas are listed there, below there. The decision is for, the commission will theoretically, after I finish reading this thing, vote to issue a negative determination of applicability, and these below are the conditions for that. This decision is only for this work as described in the project description. No other work has been reviewed or permitted. Anything else, you will need to talk to us and potentially file something else for. No removal of trees or shrubs or alteration of naturally vegetated areas is permitted by this decision. Prior to beginning grading or pool installation, sediment barriers shall be installed and inspected by staff. A line of stake straw wattle shall be installed between the proposed pool and the wetland. When that's in, give us a call, we'll come and take a look.
Okay.
All construction/demo materials and excavated soil shall be disposed of off-site in a legal manner. I assume it's going to be a very small amount of dirt.
Right.
Let's see. Materials shall be stockpiled on-site at a location that minimizes likelihood that materials will run into the street. The stockpile shall be at least 40 feet from the wetlands and 20 feet from the street. Again, I'm not foreseeing a whole lot of stuff happening there, but should there be a stockpile, mind that. No tracking of sediments on a public roadway shall be allowed. If there is any of that, you have to sweep. No filling or grading of the property under this decision beyond what is required for the approved work. All existing drainage patterns, flow directions shall be maintained. This project shall not increase the rate or volume nor cause flood or storm damage to abutters or the property of others. No invasive plant species can be planted anywhere within Burlington. If you are curious about what that means, give us a call. This condition 9 gives us permission to come and check out the work. Beyond inspecting the erosion controls and making sure the pool goes in, I don't truly foresee this needing a lot of inspections. And this is the standard condition down at the bottom that says that any non-compliance could be subject to fines. We were going to throw in an extra condition about the discharge.
Can you read my writing, or will I just read out what
You
I...
should read it out. Where would
Okay,
you
this
like
is
it to
just
go in here?
general words.
Do you have a-
It could be...
What number?
It can be anywhere really after the construction parts, after the construction materials, because that makes sense.
About,
Like 6 or 7 really, or something like that.
yeah.
Something along the lines of direct backwash or drain contents to lawn only, not directly to BVW or the street. If using chlorine, dechlorinate first by allowing to stand for at least 7 days or adding appropriate chemicals. Do you have something else for if they do use salt? Or does that kind of cover what you need?
I mean, it's, yeah, you don't want chlorinated water, but,
I know, but the salt, okay, yep.
so I think that's fine, and you don't want the filter, the backwash from the filter that's loaded with dirt directed at wetlands. Those are
Yep.
the 2 things.
Okay, well,
Usually what happens is, by the time you're ready to discharge it, you kind of let the chlorine go down, and there's no chlorine left, and, you know, you just,
right, that's why we're adding in the thing about at least 7 days, because that's the standard
Or at least 7 days?
recommendation.
Okay.
Yeah, we might have to, I said it better than that.
Okay.
When I read it out loud. I said dechlorinate first by allowing to stand for at least 7 days or adding appropriate chemicals.
usually they'll have to lower the water to put in those pillows so
Right.
that the walls don't crack.
Yep.
I'm going to highlight this and
That's okay, we'll,
make the wording less.
it's
yeah.
generally going to say that. We
Okay.
might just
That's what
tweak it
it's
so it
gonna
reads a tiny bit better than
Right now,
whatever we
it's
just said.
Crazy.
Okay.
It's going to sound like that.
And be careful with contractors, because I can tell you from personal experience with that, they try to cut corners. Like in my case, it wasn't as big a deal because I'm not near conservation,
Right.
but where you are. So
Okay,
be careful with them. Some of them will try to cut corners.
right. Yep,
And you're essentially, because you're the property owner, like, if, not saying that's gonna happen.
it would be on me. not
Yeah,
the-
be on
yeah,
you, so.
Yeah, yep. Okay.
Okay. Anybody else have any comments on this, application? Okay, so in that case, can I have a motion to accept these conditions for the RDA at 5 Marion Road for the installation of a pool? So moved.
Second?
All in favor? And can I have a motion to issue a negative determination of applicability for the project at 5 Marion Road?
So moved.
Second?
All in favor? 600. You're all set?
Thank you.
Do you like swimming in pools?
I do.
Well, your husband's going to be a little disappointed, because one of the things he said is, well, my wife really wants it, and I wouldn't object if you had to deny it.
No, the best type of pool is your neighbor's pool.
That's it's like the boat, too,
Yeah,
right?
that's-
Thank you so much.
Enjoy.
Okay, thank you. Next up is a request for determination of applicability at 12 Sarah Street. Applicant is Flavio Pinto to expand the patio and install a seating area. Notice is hereby given, you guys can come up and have a seat. Notice is hereby given that the Town of Burlington Conservation Commission is holding a public meeting at the main hearing room tonight at 6:35. As a courtesy to the public, the meeting is also accessible virtually via WebEx. And there is a link on the conservation page at burlington.org. At this meeting, Conservation Commission will act on a request for determination of applicability filed by Flavio Pinto for, excuse me, for expansion of a patio and seating area within the 100-foot buffer zone to bordering vegetated wetlands at 12 Sarah Street in Burlington, Mass., and will thereafter issue a determination of applicability. The application is being heard pursuant to the Wetlands Protection Act and Burlington Bylaw Article 14, and a copy of this application is available at conservation@burlington.org. Good evening.
Good evening.
Please introduce yourselves and where you live.
I'm Flavio Pinto, living at 12 Sarah Street, Burlington,
Okay,
Mass.
I'm Flavia Pinto.
okay. Excuse me. My asthma has been lovely lately. So, you want to give a brief description of what you're trying to do?
Yes, try to do expand the patio in front of the stairs from the deck, and then another seating area. It's just for have more room for the little ones that we have, and we always had a dream to live in Burlington, and so now that we moved there like a year ago, so and we're very satisfied to be here in Burlington.
Good. Welcome to Burlington.
Thank you.
Okay, let's hear from the staff on this application.
Okay, so we are all very familiar with 12 Sarah Street because it's been in front of us on and off for the past 2 years for, first of all, the construction of a new house, and then just some technicalities to do with that construction. So as Flavio described, they moved in last year. They had some plans to do some work in the backyard. I spoke to him last April, and I told him that for the patio and seating work that he was proposing, he should do a notice of intent because the work was going, so there was some grading work that was going to be within 50 feet of the wetland. I didn't hear from him again, and then a couple of weeks ago, we heard from a neighbor that work was occurring without permits. Flavio was invited to come in, I think, I'm not sure exactly how it worked out, but he ended up talking to the building commissioner, one of the building inspectors, and then spoke to me, and it became apparent that some of the work had indeed already started. So at that time, he said that the work was smaller than he had proposed last year. There may have been some miscommunication around that, because I think he also had a larger plan that may not have been communicated to me, and maybe it was smaller than that. But anyway, knowing that the work had already occurred, it seemed like a good idea that to allow him to do a request for determination of applicability. That way, if the commission, since the work was already well underway, if the commission determined that they were okay with approving it, he could then continue quite quickly without a huge delay in his project. And if the commission determined that the violation was, in fact, a larger deal, then you can issue a positive determination and ask for a notice of intent, or you could just deny it outright, whatever. But it was really only when I went to visit that I realized that it looked quite like it did. The seating area that you see has been sort of sliced a little bit into the grading that had been built after the construction of the previous house, and that the corner sort of furthest away from us in the photographs that we're looking at right now is less than 40 feet from the wetland. So,
How much into the no-build zone is it?
well, that's not really, well, as far as the notes on its structure, we should ask Flavio how much taller that's going to be. It's not necessarily a structure under the building permits, which is what you usually go by. So it's only a couple of feet into the no-build, probably 2 or 3 feet at that corner, and a little bit.
But it doesn't qualify as a structure as how we normally do it?
Yes, that is what we do. You say no-build, meaning a structure that would require a building permit.
Got it.
So we should probably ask him, though, if it's going to get much taller than that, because right now it's only something like 2.5, 3 feet tall, the seating. Okay, I'm done for now.
Okay. I would just like to, first of all, what she's saying about the height of the wall is important, because if it gets to be 4 feet tall, then it requires a building permit, and it becomes
Yeah.
a structure that can't be inside that 40-foot no disturb. So try not to make it 4 feet tall, or it'll be more layers of complication. Secondly, you were notified over a year ago that a notice of intent would be required
In writing.
in writing, yeah, and you responded, that it would be required for this project. And you also notified in the same manner that there was a drain line that runs behind the graded area where you're proposing to put the fire pit. So in spite of those warnings and notifications, you went ahead and did some of the project anyways. So our biggest concern, my biggest concern, is this drain line, which we have a drawing of the as-built of the previous property construction, and it shows the drain line from the overflow of both infiltration units going right through, actually almost to the top of the area where the fire pit is. So my biggest concern is what happened to that? Is it still there? Does it
Yes.
function?
Yes.
That we need to know.
Okay.
And we're going to need to see some kind of documentation for that. Let me go now to the other commissioners and see what they have to say. Ed, what do you think on this?
I think the only thing that still hangs on my head is the drainage underneath the wall. I still don't understand how that can be different than what we last saw when we were dealing with this property between them and the neighbor.
What makes you think it's different?
I can't really understand that it's continued, where I can't see how it can be continued when it was an open-ended pipe that was under the wall, and it just drained into the wetland.
The pipe that goes along the wall, the French drain, is shown on this drawing and does not appear to be part of this project at all. So I don't think it's changed since the original application approval.
I couldn't see it because everything's covered over now.
Or you tried to visually look at it while you were there, you know, that would be,
It's underground anyway.
it's underground anyway, right. Is that a correct statement that I just made, Eileen or Lucy? Is that a correct statement that I made, that that French drain pipe does not appear to be part of this project?
Yes.
Okay. Okay, Rob?
I guess, just like for clarification, a little bit of clarification, like, this is a different, this would be different than the current open order of conditions that we have?
Are you saying is it still open? It is.
Like, we have a
No,
current
you're right.
open order of conditions.
You are correct, yeah.
And then this is outside of the current open order of
Yes,
conditions, so.
and that is allowed under the Wetlands Protection Act?
Yep.
Okay.
Yeah, so,
sorry.
yeah, so it's.
You know
it's-
that.
Yeah, so, but yeah, just so it's like a, because I think sometimes if you start like stacking multiple
Oh, no, it
projects,
makes it
multiple
complicated.
orders,
Yes,
you have to ensure that they're not, you don't have like a conflicting
agreed.
order, so it's sort of, and then sometimes, order of conditions can also be amended, so something, it's like.
Yep, yep,
What are we sort of looking like? Okay.
Yep.
So this would be for a,
right. You just
second
want to make sure
project,
that
clearly separate from
we would be
the
aware of
open.
potential overlap or interference or anything like that. Okay.
Okay.
And
Yeah.
it's a second project with a completely second applicant as well. This is the new owner who's applying. not the
Yeah, so they're
original owner.
a separate,
So, yeah.
Okay, so like the current open order of conditions is for also a different, yeah, so we have also multiple applicants on the same.
Yes,
property.
I
Okay.
do,
Just to make things more complicated.
yeah.
All right.
Okay, Kent,
That was one of the questions I had.
okay. Sarah?
A couple different things. My recollection is originally the pool was supposed to be in this area, and there was some pressing reason why the pool had to be moved to the other side. Why is it okay to build there now? Build something impervious? I guess that's my first question.
You're talking about the patio extension?
Well, this fire pit is effectively
that.
something impervious.
Yep, yep.
And there was also talk of making the porch come out further with a jacuzzi extending into that area. So it seems like now we're building impervious things in an area which there was originally a reason which we shouldn't be doing that. I'm just not clear on what
Right,
changed.
my recollection is that, I think the way the pool is shown here is the way, somebody else can correct me if this is wrong, but in my memory, that is where it was supposed to be built, and the previous applicant tried to move it, and it was pointed out that was incorrect, and it was supposed to be pushed back. Was that right, or did we just
I think-
tell
I
him
think
not
that's
to build it on
correct.
that side?
That's correct.
I don't think I was here during the original.
Yeah, they
Oh, you weren't at the
they were
beginning?
going to construct it in a different place from where it was intended.
Right.
And we
That
had to
was it?
stop that.
I think that was it. So actually, that's a good point, because we hadn't, can we just back up 1 second? Because when we were out at the property yesterday, and what Flavio tried to tell me the other day, was that since this process is in front of us, he would also like to kind of make, like an amendment on the floor, to add an extension of the porch, which would be like a deck extending from the porch, because he wants to put a hot tub there. So is there a way to just sort of show them where I mean with
Yeah, can you
the,
do it with a pointer of
yeah,
some sort?
she'll just do something in a second.
Kind of where the staircase is,
All right,
So
do
you're
you
talking
see
adjacent to the staircase.
Oh, there.
Can you blow it up?
She circled it. He wanted to put a kind of deck partly over where the patio would be, because he wants to sort of extend the porch. That's his kind of addition now in the last few days.
Here?
Right.
Yeah, like that. I think that's, so
So
we
he
don't
wants
have the
he
dimensions.
wants a deck there, not a patio.
Well, both, I think, right?
Just the left side of the stairs, just extend the
Oh, we're
deck
not-
a little
we're
bit.
not- Sorry, I understand that. I had forgotten. It's just.
Yeah, right there, yeah.
Yes,
Right.
I think that's.
Got it.
Okay. And would that be covered?
No.
No, would not, okay.
So it's not really much of a difference. I just wanted to point out that it's not just patio. He's now proposing to do.
But there's going to be patio underneath and all around it.
Probably. Either
That's-
that or
that's
we
what I
we could
understood.
just have him have stone, like retain the stone underneath. That would be fine. I'm just saying. Another proposal.
Okay.
Okay,
But, sorry,
I just wanted to
Sarah's
point out that it seems like there's this creeping hardscapification
Yep.
of this, of what used to be grass. There's a lot that's now becoming impervious, like more and more and more, it seems like. Just
Right.
like, where is it gonna end, kind of, is my thought process. And also, your question about the pipe, which does appear to run underneath that orange rectangle,
Right.
just wonder about that.
You mean
Guess
the
we don't
kind of
know.
pinkish?
Well, yeah, the pinkish rectangle, the
Okay.
blue pipe underneath it. I mean, probably some contractor was digging, and you probably weren't like watching them with the eagle eyes as they were digging. I hope they did the right thing, but how will we know?
Okay.
Anyway, that's all I have to say, just general vague misapprehension,
Eric?
vague concerns.
Right.
Two things. First of all, administratively speaking, this is a request for determination. It implies that if you pass it, it implies that with a few simple conditions, you're trusting that the applicant is going to follow those conditions, and and if they don't, you don't have any recourse. That's the problem with this proceeding. There is no recourse from an enforcement point of view. And given that that this applicant was told in writing that he needed a notice of intent, and because of the concern with the drainage and the water and the whole lot, and given that he was told about the drainage line, I think this proceeding should be handled under a notice of intent administratively. That's the first thing. Regarding the substance of what's being proposed, the area is known, the neighbors are having a lot of water problems. Okay, and in back, so far, they're mostly in back. And this property is right in the middle of it, in back. And we should not be increasing impervious surfaces in this area for a couple of reasons. One, because the water will sheet off and end up as a lake in his lower area with the grass. So from a homeowner point of view, you wouldn't want that. But I think there's a very good chance he's going to have a big puddle there, okay, with water sheeting off. But at the same time, I think we should have pervious, any additional surfaces that are being planned for this project, there should be some compensation for pervious. Now, if that means that the patio he currently has, he was planning, I understood, to continue with the current patio, which is impervious, that new portion should be made pervious, okay? And an engineer should come up with how to do that, and, maybe it can look like what he has, but I think it should be made pervious. The second thing is the structure, fire pit, or whatever it is there that he's putting in is additional impervious. And so he should come up with, he should convert a portion of the deck, of the existing deck, to pervious to account for that. All right, there should not be additional impervious at this site.
He should, say that again, he should convert the existing deck?
Not the whole deck, enough to account for the
Deck?
surface area
Deck or
of
patio?
the existing patio.
Patio.
These are just my suggestions, okay? It's just me talking.
Yep.
The third thing is the location of the fire pit, or whatever he's built, whatever, I don't know what it's called, but whatever he is building out of cinder block, the chances are, if he went for a permit under a notice of intent, we would probably, since it's not a structure and so forth, we would, and it's only, if it was only barely in the 40-foot no disturb, we would probably end up permitting it to where its location is anyway. So I'm not suggesting we have to require this to be ripped up. It probably would have ended up here anyway. The last issue is the pipe. Either we need a way of verifying that that pipe is intact. We don't know with the heavy machinery whether it was dug up, whether it was damaged, or anything like that. I suspect it is. Eileen, do you know,
No, I'm sorry, she had just a suggestion, I'm sorry.
do you know if it was at a 4-inch corrugated black diameter, 4-inch diameter thing?
Coming off of the French drain, I believe so.
No, this doesn't come off the French drain. This is the overflow for the infiltration chambers.
It might say,
Along the wall? This is along the wall, this pipe.
oh, along the wall, I believe that's
This,
where
if you follow,
Right, but we're just not
Right here.
100% sure if that's what continued.
here's this pipe right here, this with the D's on it.
Yeah,
Goes right up
I mean, they
here.
probably didn't change
To the
it.
infiltration
Would have kept
chamber.
the
and
but
the
this doesn't drain the
infiltration
wall at all?
Something
No, the wall drain, the French drain is this,
I feel like it
The
might
dotted
be
line?
4 inches
is
as
this,
well, right?
this
Or maybe
dotted
bigger
line
than
here
this.
comes down and then
Patio, does he mean?
comes over a little bit, yeah.
it might
Comes
say.
down and then it jogs over, so the French drain empties down
Can you
here.
access
All right.
that?
So this one is the overflow, which then goes all the way down to that line.
All right, so I think, given that the whole intent of the design of this thing was to take the water that is being generated from this mega house, stormwater runoff, and get it to the back part of the property where it wasn't going to affect, hopefully not affect the neighbors or the people behind, I think we should figure out a way to verify that that pipe is intact. Can an engineer figure out how to do that? Is there like a small little camera you put up and through it and they check it?
You can.
I'm not even sure they would need an engineer for that.
I don't know how it's done.
I think Bill has a good suggestion too, which is a possibility.
Well, one of the suggestions that I thought of was if they can expose part of the pipe, or maybe even go in from the infiltration chamber, the access port, and just stick a hose in there and run some water, and see if it comes out the other end in the wetland. That would indicate that it's allowing the passage of water.
The overflow pipe that is coming out of the chamber system is a 6-inch perforated pipe.
Okay.
I don't have the specs on what's happening with the French drain situation. That's not on the as-built plan, but we do have other plans and other photos.
And I did ask, right, we
Yeah,
might
the
get an idea from the photos. I did ask the builder's representative this morning, because by email, if he knows how deeply that pipe was laid, but we don't know yet. Because if it was, I mean, we just don't know exactly where it is. It might be far enough down that it's not an issue. That's what we
Well-
don't know.
Well,
That's what we need to
the
find.
thing is, some kind of a professional should be able to tell either how deep the pipe is, and we should be able to tell how deep the blocks are going down, how much digging was done, and whether it likely interfered, maybe. We could perhaps do the Bill Boyven method and stick a hose in and see if the water comes out the other end.
But it's not our job to do it.
No,
No, it's up to you to come up with a method to convince
Yeah.
us that is intact and is functional.
Can we just ask Flavio to give us an estimate of how deeply the slice was? How deep are the blocks?
I mean, normally you would
On the fire pit?
Yeah.
Normally, you would dig down and see. You could dig down
Well,
along,
yeah, but he knows how deep they are. Like, if it's just, there are layers. There are visible layers, that the blocks are visible, so you can see, and
But when you-
he'll know if something went under.
When you cut into the slope, at the deepest point, how deep is it into the slope?
It's less than 1 feet.
Oh, look more than
Just
that.
Less than
con-
1 foot.
Yeah. It's like a block. The block is like, it's 12 inches.
Right, but where's the pictures?
And I
Either
still,
way, you're putting cinder block pressure on like something that was meant to do drainage, and you're putting added pressure on that, so that's, at the end of the day, is probably strong plastic,
Well-
plus extra weight.
Well, plus the construction
Yeah.
itself could have
Yeah,
put
exactly.
pressure on it
Yep.
from
Yep.
heavy equipment.
It was probably surrounded by stone, so if it's just going in the stone, it mightn't be a big deal. We just don't know for sure.
Yeah.
Right, right.
I will tell you,
Are you trying to, you're trying to move it on?
Oh, sorry, I didn't realize it
Eileen?
was so zoomed in.
We're just trying to see, there we go.
Yeah,
We can
right
see
there.
there.
from,
What, that looks more like more than 1 foot. Was it not?
no, it's not more than 1 foot. And I can dig it and show you
Can you
guys.
zoom in on the one in the middle?
This is what we're talking about.
Yeah.
1, 2, 3, 4.
We're talking about from here,
Oh,
the
okay.
bottom of the floor here.
Oh, okay.
That's more than
How much
1 foot.
Cut into this is it?
Oh, how much? Oh, okay. Yeah, that's,
looks like 3 feet.
yeah, it's about, I say about 2 feet.
Okay.
Yeah.
So, that's our concern, is that if we knew how deep the pipe was, if we knew the pipe was 5 feet down, problem solved.
The thing is, it's not up to us
Yeah.
to engineer the data necessary
Right.
to
But,
convince us. It's his responsibility, and I would feel a lot better if a professional rendered a judgment and said, given where the location of the pipe is, given how deep the pipe is, that you can dig down and find the pipe with a shovel, okay? Given the location of that fire pit, and how deep that goes, that either it's compromised, or further testing is required, or the Bill Boyven hose method, it should be overseen by somebody,
Right, exactly.
or a camera should go up. I just am not comfortable
Right.
with the way this is developing.
I think one more thing. I think PVC melts around 400 Fahrenheit. So if it's a fire pit, like,
No, it's not a fire pit, it's a sitting
oh,
area.
it's just seating?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. I thought it was a fire pit.
You had mentioned fire pit to me last year.
Yes, but we end up just do like the sitting area,
Okay,
you know.
Oh, so you don't have to worry about it.
Okay.
forget about that one.
Okay, I agree with the points that Larry Cohen made here. It's not our job to do the work of verifying that the pipe is intact. You did mention, Larry, that the impervious nature of the fire pit, or the seating area, should be compensated for. You're planning on turning the driveway from pervious into impervious pavers, right?
Mm-hmm.
I'm sorry, the other way around.
Yeah.
Yeah.
To pervious pavers, so there's some compensation in pervious.
Because it
property.
was impervious.
It
and
was
it's-
paved, yeah.
And it's being
Yeah, but-
converted.
Correct.
Okay.
But that's
Yeah,
not-
then that's outside the buffer. What are you saying?
The same thing.
I'm not sure that's compensation for where the problem is, the water is.
Yeah.
Okay.
We have so many photos of this site that I can't.
It's pretty far inside the buffer zone.
But if that was the only project, like you said before, it would probably be approved, and we wouldn't ask for compensation for that increase in impervious area.
I would have asked for compensation. I would have been approved for this location, but I would have said, whatever impervious he's adding, I think on this site, given the water problems on this site, it should be compensated for with a patio that's pervious.
Okay.
Or additional patio that's already built.
At least part of it.
Cut back, at least cut back,
Or-
so it's pervious. You know, it can make it all look, so, I mean, I
Got
think
that,
this is a
yeah.
case where, I hate to say it, an engineer probably is, or somebody is needed to come up with the concept, and,
Okay.
okay, enough said.
So it's clear to me that the idea of a request for determination is for us to determine whether the work proposed offers a significant possibility of affecting the resource area, the wetland. And in this case, it sounds like we're not convinced that it will not. So that, we think that this work is possibly going to affect the wetland area unless we're convinced that it is done the way we've described. Find out whether the pipe is functional. The patio itself should be pervious, the new extension of the patio. It should be pervious pavers and not all cemented, so it's, because that water's going to sheet off, as Larry said, and it could sheet towards the back of the yard, it could sheet towards the neighbor's yard. And the neighbors here have had considerable concern about water in their yards. So we don't want to give the opportunity of making that any worse. So I agree with the suggestion that this should be reapplied as a notice of intent. And as part of that application, you would come with some kind of evidence that the things that we have proposed are being done. Tell us what's going to happen with the patio, tell us what's going to happen with the area under the hot tub, and tell us what's going to happen with the pipe questions. So that's what we're suggesting. Does that sound like a plan to issue a positive determination here and make them reapply as a notice of intent?
Well, the other alternative is to proceed with the current administrative procedure, assuming that a professional is hired and oversees the project. You could do that, I suppose, but,
Well, that's exactly what a notice of intent would require.
right.
And if it's your suggestion, you can have a notice of intent.
Yeah, I think I still agree with the last guy who said that.
So, yeah, I think that would be the thing. You can certainly comment here, if you have anything to say.
Yeah, what about the walkway and the driveway? I can continue with that for now, and
Okay, let me, let me backtrack there. I hadn't really included that here. We hadn't included it in the RDA because it's outside the buffer. He does want to add some walkway along the number 10 side
Mostly
of,
cropped out, I apologize.
sorry, what?
I mostly cropped it out of this picture.
Oh, basically along the slightly uphill side, the number 10 side. If you're looking from the street, he would like to put a walkway on the left-hand side of pavers
yes.
to go to.
That's the driveway
So
side.
away from number
The
10.
driveway side.
I mean, on the
right, exactly.
14 side, right?
Sorry,
That's
what?
number
Right,
14.
10 is Mr. Hickey,
Oh, I'm sorry, the number 14 side, you're absolutely right.
not the Hickey.
Number
Mr.
14
Hickey
side, apologies. The number 14 side, it's outside the buffer, so I didn't think it was necessary to include in this, and it's relatively minor, and it's pavers, plus it's outside the buffer, it just doesn't really, it isn't required. He also was proposing to switch out the surface of the driveway. It is currently asphalt and therefore impervious. He would like to make it pavers. I don't know how pervious that would be, but he would like to make it pavers, which will look nicer. And I think his intent was to still, well, actually, maybe he can clarify now, was to basically, was it your intent to still drain it towards
Yes.
the chambers as it's
Yes.
doing?
Mm-hmm.
Right, but again, it's outside the buffer, so,
But this is still stormwater permit as well, right? Is the size of the construction and the size of the drainage? But we still
yeah,
jurisdiction in some sense.
that's true.
Yeah.
No, you're right, yeah.
Yeah, that's
Okay.
good.
Do you have any opinion on that? Because I wasn't really too concerned about that. As long as the driveway was still going to the chambers,
I was under the impression when you said pavers, my brain automatically thought it was pervious pavers.
pervious pavers.
And so, because also I couldn't really understand why you would change it to make it a different impervious material, but I also work in stormwater.
Just looks.
Are they going to be pervious or just pretty?
Just pretty, just to look nicer than asphalt.
They will look nicer.
Okay, so that's another thing that you need to bring to us, is just a description exactly of what that's going to be composed of.
I would say,
and-
this is a 20,000 square foot lot, is it not?
Yeah, I think so.
Mm-hmm.
approximately.
So that would be an administrative stormwater permit for the new patio and just the new patio and this other seating area. And so I would say any sort of impervious, like this walkway, I would include that in an abbreviated permit. And so should
Right, but
that be
this is a notice of intent.
I know, and so, no, I'm saying, so if this were just stormwater, this would be coming in front of me anyway, and so I would argue that we should include the walkway and the driveway
While he's
Work.
doing it? Okay.
in the entire thing and
Well,
wrap it
you
up.
know why, it's
Yeah.
not a big deal.
Okay.
Because that's what we've done that consistently recently with some RDAs, I believe, where we've wrapped the stormwater stuff into it. 61 Lexington, we did stormwater with.
I know, but that was for a whole house, so.
It's true, but this is also a complex project.
It is.
It is, it always has
You
been.
know what, if you are proposing that he does an NOI, it's not a big deal, I think, to ask him to just include that in the description.
Exactly.
Yeah,
So,
so I agree.
I think we've decided that a notice of intent will be required to change the nature of the hearing. And then it would be you coming back with information to show the status of the pipe and its function, the pervious nature of the new patio, that makes sure it can drain water, how you're going to construct underneath the hot tub, and what's going to happen with the driveway and the walkway till we know what it's going to be made of, which way it's going to drain, is it going to pitch the way, all that stuff to show us
Yep.
that answer all these questions in an application.
Okay.
But I think that's where we are.
I think it's also not to drag it out, but I think, the history of this project, I think it's probably good to go through that process.
That's not his problem.
No, I know, I'm just saying, like.
Doesn't even need to be
No,
brought
I
up.
know, but it's good to, just to, basically, the history of this project.
So, I see Flavia's getting plans, are you proposing to add something else in?
No, it was just, well, we had, like I showed you last year, we have a lot of things that we like to do, but
We like to have the same house that we had previously in another town, like with pool, with patio, deck. We like to enjoy as a family outside too. So
Of course.
unfortunately, it's not possible yet. So that's what I'm trying to do, have the same house, the same quality as we had before.
And we certainly hope that you achieve that. I mean, we're just trying to make sure it's
I
done
yeah,
appropriately.
right, yeah.
I can share that one,
Yes.
but,
Okay.
I think, but
Yeah.
would you mind if we just shared just to give them a tiny bit of feedback, would you mind? I think image number 2 that was in the files, I can find it, gives an idea of what she's talking about, and, sorry, I have this open already, let's see. Here we go, June 25th meeting, Sarah Street. I think this is the one. Let's just share it if it is, just so you can tell them whether or not it's in any way possible. Oh, it's very, okay. Flavio, tell me if this is what I think that you sent this to me like last week. Let's, Lucy will have to make it bigger probably. Is this the general idea of what you meant?
Yeah. But
Okay, so let's describe what's happening.
Yeah, but we, it was gonna be the pool house, but yeah, we decided just to not doing anything there anymore. It was just,
What is the, could you help orient
I know he's-
me here?
he's-
Like,
he's
which
not-
way is the street?
Let me,
I think the street is that way.
Oh,
I have to
To the right.
annotate, will you click approve?
To the right of
Oh.
the drawing.
okay, so
I can draw on it, give me one
Yeah,
second.
and there's the swimming pool.
So, yeah, here's the street right here. And this is 10. That's the
Okay.
biggest O I've ever written.
So what's the shaded portion above the pool? What does that represent?
I think that's the patio that they wanted to do initially. They may have tweaked these plans. Okay, there you go.
Okay.
Ah,
They
yeah.
say they had hoped to build a pool house and what's at the top corner?
Pool
Was
house.
that a playground? Does that remind me?
Yeah.
there will be,
Okay, so,
looks like a paver.
so basically hardscape the entire yard.
No, I'm gonna do
Oh,
anything.
You're not going to do that
Yeah,
now.
just wanna do like stand the patio here
Mhm.
and the seating area.
Mm-hmm.
And this is the street.
Okay, I get it.
house.
Okay.
Yeah, so you're gonna do
Okay.
the walkway here.
Yeah, okay, I think I get it now.
Okay.
I think they had wanted to do more extensive work, but that would have been building right into the wetland.
Yes, that's what it looks like.
Yeah.
So the
Yeah.
pool house is an absolute no-go, right?
No,
Okay.
Yes. That's
Okay.
part of why I wanted them to just hear that from you as well as me.
Yeah, I mean, that's like right up to the, that's in the no-build and all that.
yeah, the intent now is just the seating area and extend the patio and extend the deck for the jacuzzi. And, you know, and we don't want to put any neighbors on the risk or anything. We want to do right. I mean, the pitch, the water, is everything, you know?
And I understand you've already had conversation with your neighbors, and it was pleasant.
Yes,
and, you know, it's a
yes,
good way to-
yes,
You
yeah.
you don't want to change that.
Yeah. Yeah, we talked to him, yes.
With them to kind of
Okay.
hear. Hit stop, I didn't stop.
Okay.
I'll hit it again.
Is there anyone here? Are you here for this project, sir? Okay. What are you here for? It has been postponed. I announced that at the beginning of the meeting. No, sorry. It's been postponed until July 9th, at the request of the applicant. I'm sorry?
After the people are done, I'd like to speak to you guys regarding
It has to be part of the open hearing, and the hearing is not being held tonight. Well, let's finish with them, and then we'll deal with you, yeah, okay.
So basically, just to remind you, and I'm sure you know this, what you need to do is to issue a positive determination.
Yes.
Okay.
Also, this drawing,
I was acting like Bill didn't know anything there, sorry.
That's no problem.
Hey, have you ever
this
heard of this thing?
drawing is showing some large trees here, fruit trees.
They're not yet there.
No, we're not gonna get any of that.
You're
We
not
don't
doing
have
that?
anything yet, no.
It's just gonna be grass, like as it is.
So no fruit trees, you have a
No, not-
lime tree,
No,
orange
nothing.
tree?
This is
Apple tree?
just the plant.
What's that?
It's just the plant. We don't have,
I wish we could grow this in
Yeah.
Massachusetts.
Yeah.
Pear, yes, apple, yes, no citrus, tragically.
Lime tree?
It'd be awesome, but they don't like
Give it
New
a few
England.
years, it'll happen.
Not in the frost.
Just wait for global warming to take over a bit more.
Let me open up the
Couple
positive.
decades. you'll be
Okay.
fine.
See if
So-
it's-
Yeah, the only, and then they have a playground over here and a willow tree.
It's not happening.
That, you're not planting the willow tree either?
No.
Or the playground?
Well, like a regular playground, like every house has.
Play structure?
Yeah. But it's not a building or a,
No, no.
no, it's like already set,
yeah, really,
yeah.
okay.
Because it looks like a patio drawn in there for the playground.
Hard to tell.
Oh, no, that's what they intend to do, but like I said, we're not gonna do it was just the design like that, but we're not gonna do anything. It's just
Okay.
what you guys saw
Just what you've
yesterday.
been
Yeah,
shown
that's it.
tonight, okay. Thank you.
Are your children young?
Yes. 4 and 6.
4 and 6.
4 and 6?
Yes.
Okay. So that's why you got the playground there, okay.
Okay,
I need it.
okay, so are we ready to wrap this one up?
Well, we have to go over, I did draft a positive determination just in
Okay.
case. I
Right, right.
did one of
Yep.
each. So we'll have to go through that just to make sure that kind
Okay.
of covers what you expect.
Yes.
So I'll just share that with you, okay?
Okay,
I hadn't shared it with Flavia or Flavia because we didn't know how it was going to go.
correct.
So, oh, damn it, I didn't print it out either. You'll just have to follow along carefully. Sorry, I didn't think to print it because we didn't know. All right, we ready? Okay, I might need some dimensions from you. So the applicant, hang on, I have to make this bigger myself. The applicant is proposing to extend the existing pool patio by approximately 32 feet 6 inches by 29 foot 1 inch, and to construct integrated concrete seating benches of 15, that should be 15 feet, I'm sorry, 15, not inches, 15 feet by 13 feet 9 inches to the rear of the patio extension. The applicant also proposed to add a deck onto the existing porch. I don't have the dimensions of that. How big was that deck extension that you were proposing? If we're okay with, I mean, I guess if it's a positive determination, we don't have to add it in. Well, we should, because he's going to be doing his, no, he can use NOI for whatever he wants.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's
I'm sorry, I
about,
just had an entire conversation on
He'll
it.
present it, you know,
it's about 9 feet.
9 feet by,
9 feet by, let's say 9 feet by 9 feet.
so does that mean that the patio is being shrunk by 9 feet?
Yes, it's extended by 9 feet and meets the stairs. It's just a square like you,
Okay, you know what, I will say that. That's a good point. We're just going to say, propose to add a deck, Lucy made the good point, that we just say over the patio, okay? Because we don't need to, it's not a huge, big deal to know that, sorry, what?
It's all subject to change anyway.
Right, that's fine. Well, this is supposed to be addressing what he was saying, but this works. The closest part of the proposed work was around 38 feet from the bordering vegetated wetland. The proposed work was located within 100 feet of a BBW. Based on direction from the Conservation Department, the applicant filed this RDA after conservation staff were informed that work had commenced. During a site visit on June 24th, Conservation Commissioners observed that this work included grading less than 40 feet from the BVW that was previously delineated in 2024 for the construction of the house. Concerns were expressed about the integrity of the drainage pipe that was laid through or under the location of the concrete seating. Stormwater management with a high level of complexity had been installed at this site. The Commission is voting to issue a positive determination for the proposed work at 12 Sarah Street in Burlington. There was not enough information about the grading or construction process to be confident no part of the stormwater management system had been compromised, which could lead to impacts to the wetlands and/or neighbours. Should the applicant wish to proceed, it is recommended that a notice of intent is submitted for the proposed work. Do you want any editing of that, or does it kind of cover what we were talking about?
I think that covers what we were talking about.
Do you need me to read something out again, Larry? Or anybody, for that matter?
I think concerns were expressed about the integrity of the existing drainage pipe and the impact of an additional impervious surface. I thought that was one of the concerns.
Yep.
Still not an issue.
Okay. Anything else?
No.
Oh, sorry, I'll spell impervious correctly, though. There's an extra something. There's an extra I.
Okay,
Do you want to take your time, or is?
any other comments on that text?
If it covers it.
Okay. In that case, can I have a motion to accept those findings on the application as received for this work at 12 Sarah Street?
So moved. Under Burlington bylaw, Article 14.
Yes, yes.
Second.
All in favor? We got 600. Okay. Can I have a motion to issue a positive determination under Burlington bylaw for the project at 12 Sarah Street?
So moved.
Second.
All in favor? Kent, are you, yes or no, Kent? I didn't see.
Oh, yes.
Okay.
Yep.
Ed?
I did.
Okay, 600. Okay, that is it. You can certainly work with the staff as to what's
Are they
next.
here? Are they,
You understand what's happening here? You need to apply to go to another hearing with us and to show us, answer the questions that we had.
Okay.
And you can work with the staff as, how you need to submit for that and when it will be. The first possibility would be July 9th, which is the next meeting that we have.
Okay.
So if you get that application in, soon?
tomorrow? So it's not going to happen.
Okay. The next
Oh.
meeting after that will be in August. We only meet once in July and once in August. So we'll get you on as soon as we can into the
Okay.
things and,
Yeah, I will apply for that tomorrow, and then I'll get all the,
Well, I'm not sure you'll be able to apply for tomorrow because you're going to need to well, if you can, that's great.
You want to see like the pipe, right?
yes, that's one of the things that we need,
Yeah.
yes. And
Well,
show the new drawings with areas that are now going to be pervious rather than impervious.
Wait, do you want to like the picture? What do you need?
no, it's real purpose. The thing is, I'm saying, maybe I apply tomorrow, and I'm not gonna do anything tomorrow. I mean, I'm not gonna have the professional work and get
And
all
you
that.
won't be able to apply tomorrow.
Oh, okay, I have to do that first.
Yep.
So they have to have the answers before they apply, or what?
Yeah, that's,
Complete application.
They have to have the design.
The whole
They have to-
application, okay.
Yeah,
Gotcha.
yes.
Gotcha. Okay.
Yeah.
We're done.
all right,
Thank you for your patience,
All right.
and,
Thank
we'll
you.
work through this, and hopefully it'll all come out the way you like.
thank you.
I mean, this is. Oh.
Okay, the other items on the agenda were all postponed and continued until future meetings. Sir, come up and talk to us. Tell us
Did
what's
we
going on.
call for open public comment at the beginning of the meeting?
Yes, we did.
Oh, we did?
We did, yeah. So, as we explained, at the request of the applicant, the hearing for 85,
Yeah, he's been doing that quite a bit,
yes, quite a bit.
quite a bit, yeah. My name is Tom Alessi. I live at 9 Prouty Road. I own all the property behind the stores.
Yes.
Okay? I'm the guy who got the letter, so.
Isn't,
We can't
This isn't
accept
an open
testimony at this time. You'd have to come back and say the exact same thing. and-
I understand this, but there's been a couple things going on
we can't hear
here.
you right now.
What's that?
We cannot hear you right now.
Right.
I
Not
understand.
accept testimony on this, unfortunately.
I found a couple things on the property here, okay? You know what common read is?
Back on June 9th?
I can't. I'm away. I'm out of the country.
You're welcome to email it to conservation@burlington.
Okay, I want someone from the committee to go down there and take a look at this stuff. It was brought up by the planning board, the chairman of the
Yep.
planning board. She saw it, I saw it, everybody else saw it.
We legally can't hear anything on this right now. I'm sorry, but you can email it to us and it will be brought to
Okay,
our...
what if I bring a lawsuit against you guys? How's that?
Go ahead.
You're welcome to do so.
Okay,
We've-
We are following
we are
the rules.
this close.
We're-
I have
we're
50
following-
neighbors right now
Right.
in the process.
It would be against the
We
law for
understand
us
your
to-
frustration, but exactly, we are
No,
actually
you
following the
don't.
procedures.
You don't.
Okay.
Okay. We are aware of what happened at the planning board meeting. I watched it, I know it went on. We are communicating with the planning board about this project. So, you know, we're not blind.
All I'm asking you to do is go down there at site, look for this common reed, which is right in the corner, right next to the new building.
Look for what?
It's called common reed. It's right here. I will leave this for you.
Please.
It's wetlands, like 5 feet away from the new building.
Okay, we can't hear that now, but
You are welcome to.
we understand what you're trying to do.
Can you leave that with us?
I will leave this with you. Okay? It's been very frustrating dealing with you guys, because I tried to get on a committee before. and I didn't show up.
Well, we have, you know, we have the frustrating rules that we have to follow as well, yeah, so.
Common reed.
It's Phragmites, right?
Yeah.
If you see Phragmites, there is wetland. That's your point?
That's exactly correct. And I
Got
have
it.
pictures if you guys need them.
And just, what you referred to is that wetlands in back of the corner? Is that what you're talking about?
We can't talk
It's
about.
wetlands next to the new building that's supposed to be proposed.
Right, that's the corner.
okay.
That's in the corner.
We cannot
This
discuss.
Okay.
this will
We
be
cannot
addressed at the
discuss
next
this,
meeting.
Larry.
All right. I
Bring
just
it up
wanted
at the
to,
next
I just wanted to know what you're talking about. Okay.
So someone walks down.
You actually are aware of it because I've already emailed you about it before.
Okay.
Okay. Sign this last thing. There you go.
Yeah.
All right, so now we are on to administrative items, planning board comments. I don't think we'll have any new planning board comments tonight, will we?
For them, no, we'll just, we'll just inform them of what got continued.
Okay. Any subcommittee bylaw reports, staff reports, updates?
Other than just to let you know that our stream cleaners are in town, so if you see them in your backyards, stream cleaners that we hire every year, seasonal workers, that's all. We have a team and they're cleaning streams.
Okay. Lucy has created a discussion about the bylaw bonds that we currently have, and take it away, Lucy.
Yeah, so I did a bit of digging through our historical files. I got to do some fun math, which was great. I found out that, so we typically, when we do a notice of intent, we, in general, for the past few years, at least since I've been here, have been setting the bonds around $3,500. Turns out that in 1995, in the 1995 to 1999 period, we were also setting our bonds between $2,500 and $5,000 for new single-family homes. And we were doing about $1,500 to $2,500 for addition. So this was 30 years ago. And we were, at times, setting our bonds higher than we do currently for the same project. Where was I at? A really great statistic here. Just like for fun, the average home sale price in Burlington in 1997 was $200,000, give or take. So a $5,000 bond would have been 2.5% of the average home price. In 2025, the average home sale price was $814,000. Just fun data to look at. So I looked through, our bond amounts seem to have gotten lower over time. Not even compared to inflation, just in general. For statistics, 1995, new single-family home bond set at $2,500 to $5,000 would have been, in today's money, $5,200 to $10,800. I have a slide that I should share. I just wanted to give a little bit of framework, which is to say, I did some digging. I looked at our dollars. I have some new proposed bond prices that I'd like to ask the commission to consider. Just because at this point, we are not finding as staff that the current bond prices are enough incentivization to close out the project. One small rationale that I have for that, and I'll come back to these money amounts, is that as-built plans, we're finding cost about $3,000 to $4,000 for residential projects. When we set our bonds at $3,500, that doesn't, there's no good incentive for them to actually get it done. If doing the as-built is gonna cost more than the bond that they're gonna get back. I am also proposing that we set some pretty hard line bond prices, because the point of the bond is to have the money to pay for things, but also, the point of the bond is for them to get it back, to do the project right and get it back. So it's not like a massive tug for them, in addition to the fact that percentage-wise, these bonds are still going to be a lower percentage of the average sale price of homes by a lot. I'm proposing all new single-family homes are set with a $10,000 bond. This is in line with inflation rates looking back at our late 90s bonds. I'm saying additions should be $5,000. Small residential projects like decks, patios, et cetera, 25. And then commercial projects, we more or less are tracking with that. We tend to set those bonds pretty high regardless. But I think mostly I'm thinking a lot about the single-family home projects and the additions in general. Like right now where we're sitting, we're not. I've got a lot of pushback from folks when I'm like, hey, can you close this out? And they're like, oh, what's it worth to me? So comparatively, a $5,000 or $10,000 bond, a $5,000 bond would have been 2.5% of the average home price 30 years ago. Right now, it would be 0.6%. A $10,000 bond would be 1.2% of the average home price, which is still about half what a $5,000 bond would have been in the 90s. This price schema is, I think I stole it from Southwick, Mass. And so they just do across the board $10,000 for new single-family homes, and commercial projects $30,000 or more. And I felt that was good. This also will give us a good starting point to, ideally, we shouldn't have to alter this for a few years. That's my pitch. I will take questions.
How would you implement this? You're going to have some kind of advertising saying it's effective on such and such a date in the future, so people are aware that it's going to happen, or?
There could be a vote to adopt the new bond. I also
Right,
could write up a document.
That's a tonight thing. Okay, yeah, she could make a document. I think you already said this, I just maybe reminding you that you also mentioned it could go on our portal. It could be
Yes.
like a little notice on the portal when people are uploading things to be aware.
I'm thinking more of a public announcement, you know, use the information specialist we now have, or
Yep.
the Burlington Buzz or something, and say effective September 1st, we're changing our bond prices, you know, just so people are aware, and we've made a public statement, and then if people want to say, whoa, you know, I don't think it's fair, or whatever, we'll get a chance for some feedback.
Yeah.
Do you want to say that again? Sorry, just say the part about, do you want to, like, say that we're going to have a hearing? Is that what you mean? So that people can, or do you just mean that we'll take email feedback?
I was just saying, publish it and see if we get comments and react, but I
Oh,
mean,
okay,
we could make an official hearing on it, but I don't think that's necessary.
I also think a great thing about if we were to standardize them across the board is right now there's a lot of variability between projects. Like in sifting through this, like I've seen projects where it's like, it's a single family home in Riverfront and we asked for 2,500 and we asked for 3,500 2 months later for like an extremely comparable project. And I think that having a very standardized thing kind of like makes the less appeal opportunities there.
Well, I think it makes a lot of sense to have
Yeah.
it standardized in some fashion.
Yeah. And I thought about piecing it all together, like, oh, what if we did it by resource area? But I think to have a set rate makes it.
So the single-family home, $10,000, whether it's in a wetland or not.
I think that's,
Whether it's,
well,
no, it would be a wetland.
For all the
It would be the
wetland
NOIs.
Yeah.
And, yeah, NOIs.
So it would not be for a stormwater permit.
you know, we don't
That's-
have a lot of historical data for stormwater permits, so I didn't look into that.
Well, if you want to bundle it into the same,
Sure.
discussion, we can. I think this was mostly about the wetland ones. But, I mean, we could make it 3,500 or that, whatever, across,
Or $5,000 for all stormwater, like standard stormwater.
with a hearing
permits.
maybe.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, the administrative
That's
ones,
true.
it's
Yeah.
$1,000, and that, we might have to adjust in the bylaw. I'd have
We
to-
could say 2,000.
Yeah.
No, we don't, because it's
This is
just, all of the fees are in the regulations, right?
So I don't know.
No,
that
we don't have
can-
regulations. I'm sorry. We could. We could have,
We don't need to
No,
decide
it's
it
okay, we
tonight.
don't. No,
I can
no,
look into
sorry,
some
I
more
had to,
stuff.
I had to think, no, we don't, because it's not fees, it's a bond, and we do say in the bylaws something like bond term, it's a general blurb. So, yeah, we don't have to have a hearing on that. So,
Okay,
yeah, okay.
but I would like to see the stormwater stuff included and
Yes.
revised at the same time, why not?
Yeah, and that's absolutely, so what I can do, if the commission is interested in that, is I can compile like a formal document that says like bond fee structure or something.
Right, and then we could vote on it to
Yeah.
accept it, and also a date for which it would become effective.
Yeah, well, what do you guys think about her proposal so far?
Okay,
You gonna call people?
yeah, yeah. What do you think, Ed, for this revising the bond fees?
Yeah, just what you just changed is good.
Okay. Rob?
So, one thing I think, like, in conservation, there's a lot of, one of the first things you sort of read about the, enforcement stuff, it's like encouraging voluntary compliance. And I think that's really good with a lot of what we do. And I kind of understand for NOIs, it becomes much more sort of, much more significant projects. But one thing is, I guess too, maybe like what's the overall impact of like the non-compliance of the sort of like the people sort of refusing to close out the project? Maybe like is that like to sort of to kind of like justify, because I think for me maybe just not being less experience on the commission, but or we just sort of don't really see the projects after we issue we issue the permit and then we sort of close the permit and we don't really see maybe the final closing of the paperwork.
Yeah.
Sort of just like is it sort of
So-
an issue for the town or what?
There's a couple of, so first of all, it's a state requirement to close it. So baseline, like under the WPA, you gotta do it.
Is there a timeline? How much time before the,
I don't know that there's a specific timeline. Some towns do require it under, I think, their bylaws. I don't.
It might be under the bylaws.
Um,
There isn't a specific time, it's just supposed to be at the end of the project.
Yeah.
And people just let it go.
The permit is active for the time that it is active, so 3 years unless it's extended or extended by the state. But on the resident side, it acts as an encumbrance on the deed, which isn't always enough incentive to close it. On our side, the project isn't, for the commission side, it's not administratively complete, so there's no way, we need to be able to follow up and make sure our conditions are met, or our conditions are met. Otherwise, arguably, the conditions don't mean anything unless we're checking on them.
That's a good point.
And so I believe people should be held to that. On a nitpicky office side, we have to retain all of the paperwork for all of the projects until they are closed, at which point we can scan and get rid of them.
Closed and recorded.
Closed and recorded. And so we have 30, 40, 50, I don't know, 50 years of papers that I've been working on. That's part of why you're seeing all these COCs coming through, is I'm sending out letters all the time. Like, hi, can you close this? I want to throw away this plan from the 70s, please.
so can this revision include something that says from the time the project receives its, orders of conditions at that conclusion, that you have X amount of time, but to then,
I
To
think that,
what? To record it? Oh, we did talk about before. Do you mind if I just interject this? I'm sorry. We did talk about this, and I think this is a good time to mention it again. An important part that Lucy just said is that the COC not only has to be issued but recorded.
Oh, yeah.
So we would suggest that we say that you get your bond back after it's recorded.
recorded, okay.
And that way, we're all done. We can magically throw away the paperwork. It's official.
But if they never record it, we would never pursue? We won't give them so much time? Or,
If it's
for
not
some people,
recorded, we
20
can
years
only
later, they
ask
sell
them
a
to
house, and
record
that's
it.
when they have to deal with it,
Yeah. There's only so
Well,
much
let's hear
teeth
from
we have
everybody
ahead.
else here. Ken?
No, I agree. I think it's a good idea. I assume what you stated about it does give the incentive more to to get the COC, and I think the recording piece is a valid concern. I agree with you.
Sarah?
Is this about in line with other towns?
This, I mean, not every town has bonds. This is in line with, I sent out a message to a listserv and I got very few responses. And some towns were like, we actually sit down and itemize everything that we would need covered by the bond. That's not feasible for our town. But the one that sent actual numbers, these are the numbers that I got.
Okay.
Yep.
Larry?
I'd like to take a step back, Lucy, and ask you a couple of questions. Have you had any applicants, single-family homeowner applicants, who have said, this isn't worth me closing this out?
Yes.
You have?
Yeah.
How often does that happen?
I mean, it's happening more and more often as I'm sending out letters being like, hey, can you please close this?
So they're okay with having a cloud in the title?
I mean, it's a financial issue for a lot of people. So it's not necessarily worth it financially.
Okay, so you're seeing the bond as an incentive to close it out, and so they
Yes.
can get their bond back, is what you're saying?
Yep.
All right. Also, another dimension to this, so the first question is, how much does the bond have to be to provide that incentive, number one? In other words, I assume the incentive is I have to hire an engineer to do an as-built.
Yep.
Is that the main stumbling block?
Sure, or if there's non-compliance or in other ways.
Well, wait, yeah,
Yeah.
let's take it step by step.
Oh, yeah, I mean,
So do we have, for a single-family house, a new house or an extensive revision, how much does it cost to have an as-built?
so my understanding, and I haven't polled engineers, my word of mouth understanding is $3,000 to $4,000.
Okay, that's fine.
Yep.
No, that's, then the other part of it is your comparison to a percent of the selling price. I mean, it's nice to know that it's a small fraction of everything they're spending, okay, possibly.
And you're meant to get it back.
But I think that's not the right metric to look at. I think the right metric might be to look at, you just, the kind of what you just said, that an as-built might be $4,000 for a single-family residence, that's fine. But also if the planting plan either isn't done or part of it fails and they don't want to replant, theoretically, the bond would be used for that. I think I know the answer to this. How often, Lucy, have you seen cases where we have actually used the bond? I'm not aware of it, but maybe you are aware of it.
Very infrequently. We could. I think it just becomes, again, we want voluntary compliance for the most part, and that's quite
So that
impressive.
normally doesn't happen.
Yeah.
But that's not the point. Actually, that's not really the point. The point is regarding a planting plan, which is obviously what I'm referring to. The bond should be looked at. Do we have some idea of what it takes to perform the work that was supposed to be done if they don't want to do it, or perform the work to correct for half the trees that died and replanted and they don't want to do it? So, I mean, all I'm saying is yes, as a percentage of the selling price, you make a very valid point. But I'm not sure that's the metric that we would want to make judgments.
And I absolutely hear that, and I will say, so that is in line with some towns who have smaller filing loads, are able to take the time to do this project by project, which I think is wonderful.
I'm not suggesting you.
Totally. And so actually my first and my biggest job, the home prices was more of a for fun game for me, so I was curious.
I sort of got that.
But I spent a lot more time working with our historical bond amounts and adjusting them for inflation. And so actually, the $10,000 is in line with, adjusted for inflation with what we were setting them in the 90s. And we've actually, since then, it's only become less. So we've had way less teeth since then.
Yeah. I mean, I think if you present it, if we have a hearing and you present it as the incentive to close it out and get it recorded and get it off the title for the homeowner, as that incentive, so that the as-built complies with the requirement for an as-built, and to either replant or perform a part of the planting or all of the planting, if you say we need X amount of money, I think that would play more, to me, more logically if we were having a hearing.
Absolutely. I will say, what is it, the town of Easton adjusts for inflation, they calculate it out and they adjust it for inflation for 3 years out. And they have a signed agreement that says funds are seized if work is never done and after a specified amount of time.
Yeah.
So there are towns that are doing even stricter things with.
I mean, given the amounts you came up with, I suspect if you look at the rationale that I'm suggesting, you're going to come with the same number.
Almost certainly, with a lot more
So,
legwork.
so I'm not suggesting
Yeah.
your numbers are wrong. I'm just saying the rationale for it applies more logically from the point of view of we need an incentive to close it out, and we need an incentive to perhaps either replant or plant if they haven't done it.
Sure.
Can I raise a point with regard to that? If somebody doesn't want something to thrive in their property, even if Conservation Commission forces them to plant, it's not going to thrive. There are many, many ways to kill it.
It has to survive 2 years, 2 growing seasons. That's the
After that, they're free to,
After that, they're-
look what happened.
they're free to
So sorry, not
withdraw.
And then, in that case, the bond covers the planting and the monitoring and the this and the that, and the,
Only really for 2 years.
Well,
well,
2 years.
that's all they're required to, but that would be what we're,
Right.
Yeah.
At least they're in better shape by then.
yeah.
Now, there is something else that you didn't mention, Lucy. With ongoing projects,
Yes.
not after the project done, but with ongoing projects, sometimes they need to submit inspection reports. Sometimes it's self-inspection with the combination of your visits and with the homeowner perhaps doing it. Or sometimes it might be that we need a professional to do it. You want the bond, I would think, to be sufficient to cover the cost of that. Does that make sense?
Yes. Can I interject there?
Yeah.
These days, we mostly require inspection reports for the commercial projects or for the very much more complicated residential.
So it's only a small subset of single-family
Yeah.
project, okay, thank you. All right.
Could we,
But we are inspecting them. We are keeping an eye on them. But if somebody's not planting at a certain time, they have up to 3 years to do so, really. So
in this position paper that we're trying to write, could we also include something like, these will be adjusted for inflation once every 5 years, or something like
Yeah.
that?
Are
Using the
you
consumer
proposing-
price index?
Are you proposing that Lucy actually writes up something that's an actual policy? Is that what you're
Sounds like
thinking?
Or like a guideline or something.
Well, we have policies.
Yeah, we do have policies.
Yeah.
And I didn't realize that's.
So I'm just
that's
thinking,
cool.
to make it, well, we should formalize it to some degree.
That's fine.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Where are our fees, discussion of fees codified? Are they in the regulations now?
Well, this isn't fees, though. The fees are in the in the wetlands, fees are in the wetlands regulation in the appendix, right? Yes.
Bonds are just at your
But bonds are,
discretion.
exactly,
Yeah.
Bonds are what?
at your discretion. That's what Lucy.
Yeah, so I'm
she's doing
suggesting
this.
that we have a schedule for it. I like every 5 years. Would it be, and maybe this does need to go in the regs, maybe it's not feasible, if we wanted to entertain a discussion about seizing the bond after, like, if the permit is not closed or extended, as does Easton.
That's, in theory, that's the purpose of the bond.
Yeah.
You lose it if
You're
you
gonna
don't
lose it.
follow the rules.
I'm not sure if that could go in a policy, or if I think that might be a reg change, which is,
If we're generating a policy, or maybe in the regulations, because we can change regulations easily.
That's right.
I'm just wondering, I just lost my train of thought.
So your thing is that,
It
just so I
expires.
understand, if the order of conditions expires without them having applied?
yep.
Wow, that's harsh. Wow,
Well, I mean, they're supposed to extend it or close it.
Yeah.
That's, yeah.
okay.
Oh, yeah, it just came back to me. I had a senior moment. Do we need to put in any policy or regulation if you're coming up with a guide or whatever we want to call it, the form of the bond? Because we've had situations where the thing that was posted expired.
We
and
haven't done that for, I'm sorry.
And then it's gone.
Lucy's got- We haven't done that for years. We only ever take cash bonds now.
cash
They
bonds.
have
For
to bring a
several
check.
years now,
Yeah.
yeah.
So it's,
They can pay it
Well,
online.
I mean, it's not cash, they're not coming in at
Wouldn't it be
$5,000.
crazy?
it's not like it's not like a paper bag with cash.
$30,000 in a paper bag?
Exactly how does it work?
They
What
bring
do
it-
they bring in?
They bring a check, sorry,
Oh, they bring a check,
Lucy's
it
got
gets
it.
cashed into an account. When you guys vote to release it, I tell Lisa, and Lisa initiates the bond return where that the accounting department issues a check, and it gets either mailed to them or they come and pick it up.
So we don't anymore get a bond that expires. The old ones did.
yes.
Because those, in much like
Because of that,
a low bond
We
is
we stopped
useless.
doing that years ago.
Yeah.
Oh, I must have missed that.
Okay, so our action item here is Lucy's going to formalize this a little bit more, and we'll see if we come up with some kind of a policy that we can discuss again, and we can either just vote it as part of regulations, because we can do regulations with board approval here, or we could just turn it into a policy statement and list it with our policies that are posted.
Okay. Do you like her numbers generally? Or do
Yes.
you want to discuss them?
So I like them generally, yeah.
Well, you can think about it maybe
Yeah, yeah.
while she's developing that. Can I ask one more thing? You had suggested that then, we work with Laura, maybe, to talk about disseminating this. Are you okay with just handing that over to Lucy to, to deal with that herself?
To
Or
deal
do
with-
you
to deal
wanna
with
make
what?
it-
The publicity?
Yeah, publicity
Well,
part.
once we approve of deciding what we like, sure,
Okay.
you can publicize it, you know.
Should we have a hearing?
Well, that's how formal do you need to
No.
be? I don't think
I
we
don't think it
do.
needs to be hearing, unless we're changing the regs,
If
which.
you have a hearing, no, we still don't have to for regs.
Oh,
If you're having a hearing, you're going to open a whole can of worms. It's your bond.
yeah, it's at your discretion.
Right.
At your discretion,
Oh,
yes.
I
It
don't
is
think
at
if you wanted to
okay,
change
yes.
the, if,
We don't
seizing it.
You mean, well, we have to have a hearing if we're changing the bylaw. But if we're just changing the regulations, we don't, it's, well, it's,
Right,
like it's a discussion item.
Word.
We would make it public, we usually do.
yes.
We might
Yeah.
make a hearing, we might make it a hearing, yes, but we're not absolutely obliged to.
That's interesting.
And it may not be in the regulations per se, it may be as a policy.
I think it's
Oh,
fine as a
yes.
policy because it's easier to change then in a few years.
I totally agree. I was,
Yeah.
my question was about if we wanted to discuss potentially
Oh, sorry.
seizing the bond after, if the order expires without being closed, just as further incentive to close it and get your bond back. That might be a regulations change. But I don't know if that's something
Do
you
you want to talk about that?
Talk
Do
about
you
what?
want to consider
Seizing,
it?
when do we seize the bond?
No, that's at the discretion of the commission.
Yeah. Oh, well, you can say what you were saying. Out loud if you
I'm
want.
trying not to
No, you
jump
can.
into my
I don't know.
Please, use your voice.
That's it. We're questioning who makes the decision to seize the bond? Is it just at the discretion of the commission, or is it, it'd be nice to have a written policy on it?
It's
I
hard
can
to,
also,
How
I can
about-
reach out to Easton also.
it's hard to cover
Okay.
every situation.
It is. it
How
is.
about Lucy reaches out to Easton to see how they went about doing that? But
Yeah.
we may also, if you even want to consider that, I think we should also talk to town council and just make sure
Oh, yeah.
it's kosher.
Yes, exactly.
I mean, I'm sure Easton did it and it's all fine above board. I just don't know how they did it, so shall we do that? If you even want to consider that part, the season?
Which part you're talking about?
Seizing.
Seizing it?
Yeah,
Yeah,
I
mean, it certainly makes it strong that they're going to come back sooner.
yeah. If we had some kind of bite that says, we'll give you 60.
And you won't get it back.
In 60 days, we're going to take that bond, and it's no longer yours.
Like 60
Yeah,
days
finish
for
up.
the expiration.
But I mean, yeah,
Then
but I mean, we give
have
the,
to be good about reminding them.
Yeah.
Say,
Yeah,
Oh, of
exactly,
3 months or
exactly.
something before the
But
end.
now I've got like we've got
She's made
back of
some-
house spreadsheets that
She's
I've
got
made up, yeah,
spreadsheets,
that
that's
fine.
auto-calculate the things.
think we're going to get into kind of a can of worms regarding the wording of seizing a bond.
Mhm.
And I think it's not a good idea. That would be my just initial reaction.
so would you never seize a bond? Just turn it into cash for the commission, or because they didn't do what they were supposed to?
I didn't say I'd never seize a bond, but
Okay.
I'd leave it at the discretion of
I
the
was gonna say you have.
Okay.
Have they?
Yeah, historically, there's been like, I mean, for inspection fees and stuff. I've read a lot of old permits, like,
Oh, I see what you're saying about the inspector, like 10%. Yeah, that used to be in the wording about 10%, blah, blah, blah.
Yeah,
Okay, but.
In the old days, we
The old
had an egregious project quite a few years ago,
Yeah.
where the project did not submit the required inspections, those are commercial inspections. And that project had a bond that was one of the type that expired, and we couldn't take it. And so we added up the number of inspections that were missed, times, at the time, whatever the amount was, and we came up with a penalty of, assessed a penalty of $15,000.
Did they pay it?
Yes.
Nice.
And I think it still was, even in those days, which was many, many years ago, he probably thought it was a good deal compared to hiring the engineer to do the inspections and do the reports.
Fair enough.
Okay.
Possibly.
Okay, so I have,
Okay.
And then we went out to restaurants for a month after that.
Okay.
I have written down that I'm going to formalize the policy and add stormwater into it. The numbers that I have up here are good. And then I'm going to ask Easton about what the deal is with seizing it.
Yep, okay.
Just find out more.
And we
Rob.
might talk to town council as well.
Oh, I did write that as well.
Rob has a thing.
Maybe ADUs?
Oh.
Detached
I would
attached
call-
ADUs? I don't know, that's a kind of question.
Does that come under small projects or additions?
I would call that an addition. That's
Yeah.
including large regrading projects.
Okay, that would be, okay.
Is what I put in there.
By the way.
Make sure it's clear.
I will write the word ADU.
Speak-
And ADUs.
Speaking of ADUs,
Yep.
the pool house that that last gentleman was potentially going to build, but not now anymore.
Yep.
The square feet was just under the limit for an ADU, 880 square feet. Just thought I'd make that point.
Notable.
Right.
So we could move in.
The commission
Okay.
can live there.
I think we've discussed enough on that topic
Okay.
for the moment, and we will bring it up again. Maybe we'll put it on the agenda as a discussion item for when you have that next draft of the,
Yeah,
The document.
maybe depending on how very busy the July 9th
If
gets.
July 9th
Yeah,
is
yeah.
not busy, you will hear from me. If it is,
Yeah.
you will not.
She'll
Okay.
probably get done tomorrow.
I probably will.
okay. All right, so another new business. I had sent something out to people talking about
Okay.
whether we should consider non-residents for the Conservation Commission. I got this little chart that I made. You can pass down the line. I bring this up for one main reason. You know, we have situations where very qualified people would not be allowed to apply for the commission. Namely, let's say I wanted to sell my house and downsize, and I couldn't find a place in Burlington, I had to get one in some other community, I'd be forbidden from serving on the commission. If Eileen retired but would like to be on the commission, she doesn't live in Burlington, she wouldn't be allowed, but she's certainly qualified. So I looked at all of the commissions and committees in the town that are appointed by the select board or the town moderator. They don't all have residency requirements. Roughly half or less have residency requirements. They don't mention it. They don't specifically say non-residents can apply, but it doesn't say a board is consisted of 7 residents of the community like ours does. So it made me wonder, if they don't have it required, why should we have it required? I talked to, Massachusetts has no mandatory residency requirements set for Conservation Commission members, leaving the decision to individual municipalities. So I talked to Patrick Lawler, is that his last name? Patrick Lawler, and about it, and he said, this is the exact reason, exact type of thing that the Government Review Committee would like to discuss. And he directed me to contact the chair of the Government Review Committee, which I did. And I'm trying to remember her name at the moment, it escapes me.
Betsy?
Betsy, yes. Betsy said that they are in their process of going through this review of all the government existence here. They're going committee by committee, and conservation hasn't come up yet. It's probably coming up sometime in July. She will let me know when it is coming up for them to talk about it, and that I would bring this up at that point. They would consider it then, and I sent her a little discussion about it, and I just a brief description of why we're considering it. And it might not only be a discussion of conservation, but for that Government Review Committee, it might be a discussion of, let's standardize the rules for whether you need to be a committee member has to be a resident across the board. Now, some communities, most communities have residency required for conservation, but some say, or especially, otherwise qualified individuals such as a business owner in that town who doesn't live in that town. They obviously have a vested interest in the town. And I would like to say something like that, plus former members of the commission or the staff would all be qualified. Residents, business owners, and staff, and, former commission members, whether they live in town or not. Not that, we have that many situations where that comes up, but it would maybe increase our ability to recruit when we do have a vacancy. Someone like John Keeley comes up as an excellent example of someone who might like to be on the commission. But he's not eligible, he's certainly qualified. So that's what that was about, and I'll let you know what happens, when it's going to come up in July. She's going to let me know. And I certainly will attend that meeting, but I'll let you know what it says. This is what the bylaw is. That's the exact wording of the bylaw for the town bylaw.
This is the current. It's bolded just because this was the actual article we sent in last year. That's why it's bolded. I forgot to, remember, it wasn't on the bylaw right now?
Yeah.
What wording are you proposing to change, just so we kind of... You can just remove the word
To
resident?
compose of 7 residents of the town, or, I forget what the wording was, other ones, especially qualified individuals, or specifically residents, or
Oh, okay.
business owners, or, former members of the commission and the department. Specify it just like that. This group of people would be considered.
What does everyone think?
What do we think?
That's a tough one. I was in that situation when in Lexington.
Yeah.
I wanted to downsize. That meant I had to leave Lexington. They didn't have any downsizing back then.
Exactly. We'd be in the same position in Burlington.
You're kind of forced to do what you want to do personally. I don't know, I think it should be a little bit more open-ended, because you can't find somebody, and there's a candidate that probably fits,
Mhm.
and it's in another town, especially if they want to move, but who knows when.
Right, right.
I guess I'm still with a door open, you can consider a little more seriously candidates possibly from another town.
My understanding right now is if I were to move tomorrow, a new member cannot be appointed, but I could serve out my term, I believe, because it says, it's something about appointing members or whatever. But I heard that somewhere, that might be the case.
So the term would be in another town?
No. They cannot appoint someone to the commission who is outside of residency. But since I'm already in it and moved, they're not appointing me again for another year. At that point, they couldn't appoint me, is my understanding, but that's not totally clear either. All right.
That's kind of
Yeah.
fancy.
Rob, what do you think?
I think kind of like, one thing that's sort of, I think kind of interesting is that, like, a lot of appointed, like, boards, they're advisory, it seems like a little more advisory. And I think conservation has, one of the special things about it is that it can, we can waive certain general bylaws. And I think another, when it says Master General Law, Chapter 40, I think Zoning Board of Appeals is somewhere in there too. And, they can do variances of zoning. So I think, one thing about conservation is that it has some, special powers to it that's a little bit different than some other boards. So that, I think it's something a little bit to think about when you get a little bit more sort of into a perspective maybe of home rule, maybe, of your political philosophy of how strongly between how the board should sort of be assembled. Like, if you have, you know, I know, you know, we have 2 town meeting members here, but, you know, if it's like having an appointed board being able to sort of, to issue the waiver seems like a special responsibility as well. And just something to consider maybe for the appointing body, to see who, like, who appoints someone and how that might, you know, the ideas of town governance. Or
Well,
something.
we wouldn't be able to make this decision.
Yeah,
We would have to
yeah,
apply
it would
for
be.
a warrant article to do this.
Yeah, for a
Change
town
the
meeting,
bylaw.
so, I mean,
Right.
something for town,
Right.
if this comes up before a town meeting, sort of, you know, like from a devil's advocate, the town meeting could say, you know, that it's a little bit more, like, you know, would we be okay with, you know, sort of, you know, you'd come up with a lot, like, hypothetical scenarios and whatnot, so
Right, right.
not so much like the particular person who might fill a role, but more in a general sense.
Sure.
As well.
On this chart, the zoning bylaw review committee themselves say yes unless otherwise stated, and they allow 2 non-voting members. One is member of the building department who does not need to be a resident. So they specify someone who does not need to be a resident as part of their commission,
Yeah.
but not, it is
They're-
a non-voting member.
Their advisor, yeah, like,
Yeah.
I don't know all the members of the zoning board of appeals.
Okay,
But, yeah.
what do you got, Ken?
No, I think it's a good point. I mean, it's, you know, elected's one, I mean, it's a different animal, but I think, you know, you are, a lot of these boards, you're at an advisory role, so I think, like, it's, you know, most of the time you're gonna end up with, you know, people that are gonna be town residents, but if you have a minority that, like a John Keeley, for example, or, you know, Eileen, hopefully not retiring anytime soon, but wants to contribute back in a, you know,
Yeah,
it's
yeah.
good to have people that have that kind of knowledge, so I don't see a downside to it, so. I mean,
Okay.
it's- I mean, I don't think you're probably not gonna get everybody in your entire board, it's 7 members that are gonna be like,
It may be very rarely.
yeah, but
used,
it
yeah.
does open up the opportunity to,
Okay.
do that.
Sarah?
I actually don't like this idea.
Okay.
Some kind of intuition that you ought to have skin in the game. You ought to really, really care about this town as a resident to be making these kind of calls. So that's my strong intuition. Also, just sort of implementation details, like how exactly do you define a qualified person? I mean, I talk about Burlington endlessly to my mom in Washington DC, my sister in Seattle. Why can't they be on our Conservation Commission and attend remotely?
Well, we'd have to specify
devil's in
only
the details.
people who own property or businesses in town, which some communities do say that.
I honestly like the idea of a business owner who did not live in the town very little. Because
Okay.
that person is counter-incented, in my view, to really care about the water and the nature of this town. They are
Interesting.
only representing the business side.
Yeah.
I don't like this idea.
Okay, thank you. Larry?
I agree with Sarah. I do not like this idea. The reason is because we deal with the environment of the town. Okay? And we're looking out for the welfare of the residents to improve qualitatively and sometimes quantitatively the environment in which we live. That includes habitat. That includes protecting drinking water for people downstream. That includes surface water protection. And also prevention of flooding. And the things that have to do with the environment of the people who live here are the Human Services Advisory Committee. We provide human services to the residents. For the Land Use Committee, we're talking about land use for the town we live in. For the General Bylaw Review Committee, the general bylaws apply to residents and business. And for the Conservation Commission, having business owners who have a stake in Burlington, they are naturally at odds sometimes with what we're asking them to do. So I think you make a point that we don't want to ignore anybody who volunteers talent. I agree with you. But I also think that if you come up with language and you're proposing that associate commissioners could be, they couldn't be on the commission, but they could be sitting over here supporting the commission with a specific expertise, I like that idea. Okay, if someone's motivated enough to want to see how a commission works, okay, they can't be on the commission, they're not voting, but they can participate in every other way.
So non-voting member could be a non-resident.
Could be a non-resident, and I think, you know, and I also think that, like the Land Use Committee, the same thing. You can have a non-voting member of the Land Use Committee, which is our town, could have a consultant or somebody who sits in on those meetings and gives them information from a professional sense or some other point of view. I think for the Human Services, same thing. I mean, you could have a non-voting member of that advisory committee that could be advising, making suggestions and so forth of how we can improve the human services for the residents of the town. So I basically, in general, I don't like it sort of as you necessarily specifically presented it, but I do like if it was allowing non-voting people in an advisory role that maybe don't live in town,
Okay.
but they can't become a voting member, okay? That's kind of the way
Well, I think just to clarify too, I mean, I get your point about the associate. Let me restate my point. So I think that if it was like John Keeley or somebody, like in your point, like a resident from another, that's different, I agree. So my point was, let me clarify, that's very different, putting aside the associate commissioner, I'll come back to that. But I think if you were a voting member, it's very different if you're, say, a former staff or a former, you know, like in your case, you know, from another town, that's very different than a business perspective. I totally agree with you that you're at odds with if it's a person that's as a
Well, and
mistake.
also for a commission, we're imposing adherence to state
Yep.
and local regulations.
Yep.
It should be Burlington people that are forcing that
Yep.
upon the applicants.
Yep.
Okay? And someone from another town, I'm just not comfortable with them enforcing our bylaw upon an applicant.
Yep.
That's the way I see it.
Yep. And these ones that in the current town bylaw say do not mention being citizens as a requirement, maybe they intended that, and they just didn't put the wording in to specifically limit it. They just assumed that that would be the case. And now, I think this is one of the things, a good example of what the committee that's looking at the laws of the town are going to try to correct, you know, things like that. I keep forgetting the name of the committee, but
Who chairs that?
Government Review.
Government Review Committee.
Betsy Hughes.
Betsy Hughes,
Betsy.
yes. So this is exactly the type of thing that they want to tackle. So that's why it was recommended to go there, and they'll discuss something like this at an upcoming meeting.
Well, so you're hyper-qualified people that you propose, like yourself, should you move out? Larry, should he move it to a different town? Eileen, John? Those are like corner cases, not even edge cases. There are so few people that meet that description,
Yeah.
that there should be a special exception for people like that. I don't think we need to change the rules.
Yeah.
Well,
But-
okay, we
But
need
you do,
to.
because the
can't,
bylaw
yeah.
says they have to be residents.
Right.
But I mean, do we want to change the bylaw for such a very, very unusual case, for maybe like 5 people who would
You would
qualify?
have to do it for it to be legal.
I mean, do you have like,
You could just say, except for like, especially, like, what did you say? You said, except for especially qualified individuals, subject to review of the current commission, or so, I don't know.
Yeah, but it would still have to.
maybe a
Oh,
very,
yeah,
very
it would have to
special
be reviewed.
carve-out for
It
very
would have to be
special
in our
cases?
Right.
But I don't want some random Bill Ricka
If I
person serving
moved out
here.
of town, it's, see you later.
Okay,
I'm done.
okay. I just wanted to bring that up for discussion, and the only thing I'm going to do is go to that meeting and see what they have to say
May I
about it.
just ask a question?
Yeah.
For everybody. When I was a member of the Conservation Commission in Arlington before, a number of years ago, I wasn't yet a citizen of this country, but that was allowed because it wasn't specified. If the Government Review Committee raises it, do you guys have any issues with that? Because we have plenty of people who live in this town who aren't necessarily citizens, but they are.
They are residents.
Resident.
So just in case it gets
Resident.
raised,
residents.
of the town.
Forget the citizen thing.
You're not worried about that?
Not at all.
Okay,
Can't tell you how not worried I am about that.
okay, but I'm
So tell
I'm
me
saying
how-
the government review committee, it might be raised at some point.
Okay, no, that's a good point.
That's an interesting twist.
I'll move into the basement of Town Hall.
If you care about
Can I
Burlington,
be on the commission?
That's right. You're a
Yes.
resident. You
Okay,
can't-
that's fine.
But I think the business one is, that's a major, I'm less concerned about.
It's a different
the-
viewpoint completely.
If John, like if John
Right,
Keeley or you, or that's,
Okay.
to me, that's like, I agree, I get your point, but I think the main sticking point is the business one, which is, that I would have.
Oh, I wasn't even making a point, I'm just.
No, I'm just saying,
asking a question.
no, I'm not, no, I agree with your point about the resident, I agree with that, but I think the major sticking point here is like the business, if a business owner who owns in town, who has a vested interest in the town, but that's a completely good point about basically that a lot of times
Yeah.
you are at odds with these projects, so having them serve is kind of like a,
fox and
actually-
hen house situation.
Well, actually, John Keely's name has been mentioned a few times in this discussion. Should we just come out and ask him? I think I know his answer, but that's beside the point.
So if I buy a business in town, I'm out? Is that what you're telling me?
Absolutely.
Yeah, history.
Can't happen soon enough.
Yeah, history.
All right, so I appreciate the time to talk about these other items because it was a very short meeting tonight, so this is good. Another thing that came up, and this is very brief, is that the topic of associate commissioners, obviously, we're entitled to have up to 2, and I think we should be advertising. Patrick Waller is putting together with our communications officer, Laura, some kind of a table or a chart to present on the town website that says, here's all the vacancies in towns and commissions, in the town's commissions and boards and stuff like that, if anybody's interested. And I'd like to see on there, there's 2 vacancies for associate commissioner, and somehow get that advertised so people could apply.
Post on our social media next week.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, they'd have to agree first.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
I saw that the town of Holden has 4 associate commissioners.
Wow.
I don't know how that works.
How many commissioners do
That's
they
a
have?
lot.
Unruly.
Rife with
I haven't seen their meetings, but I saw
Do they
them
actually
all.
have 4, or do
they
they
need
just
them
have slots for 4?
It's 4 people listed and with 7 commissioners.
Do you know there are
to watch
tons
them.
of commissions out there who can't get enough members to actually have a quorum
I saw,
consistent?
We have
So
four
yeah,
extra
Gloucester
people
has 2 openings right now.
But Holden has 4 extra people.
Yeah, they,
We're getting home.
Yeah.
We're gonna get 4 extra people are weighing in on every project.
So we will include associate commissioners from Holden on our,
They can come to our town.
doesn't zoning board appeals have like a separate from an associate? Don't they have like, there's common members and then they have ones that can attend?
I don't know. That thing I shared a few minutes ago was how we changed it last year to say associate members, and I think it specifically did say non-voting.
yes.
And I think everybody's happy.
No, I meant more like sometimes when you have issues like quorums, like I think zoning board of appeals has like they have like members that.
Or they can tap in.
They can tap into that aren't, you have like your main roster and those members attend every meeting, but if the
Right,
main
I
people.
understand,
Okay.
but it's, I'm saying they are probably allowed to vote and ours are not.
Right.
No, I'm just saying that's another interesting,
Yeah, would the associate member,
Yeah.
would we want them to be able to vote if it needed
Yeah,
for a
if you
quorum,
need- yeah,
something like that? I would say no, but,
yeah.
so.
I would say no too, because then what's the point in, aren't they just members then?
Well, no, because they only can tap in
Right,
sometimes.
they're members in waiting, in theory,
I don't think we need to make it complicated.
Oh.
yeah, I agree. So,
Is there general agreement on that?
is there agreement that we should be advertising to try to get an associate commissioner or 2? Everybody think that's a good idea? Yes, I see a lot of head nodding, so yes.
So is that, are you going to talk to them, or do you want us staff to talk to them?
I can talk to
Patrick and-
Patrick, I'll talk to
Oh, all
Patrick to
right.
make sure he includes that in his table.
Awesome.
Okay, that's fine,
That's one thing off my plate.
great.
Okay, one more item that I'm aware of.
Oh, we've 2.
Oh, two more items. Larry, why don't you
Sorry,
cover?
3, we've 3. No, can I just,
Three?
before we start that?
Yeah,
Can I mention the 14 to 16 county road first?
yes, please.
Okay. Just wanted to give you guys an update. 14 and 16 County Road were in with us, do you remember, 2 meetings ago for an enforcement? And they invited me out, well, they invited me out to take a look yesterday to see how they were doing, because we had given them basically today as a deadline to actually get work done. It's looking so much better. They did such impressive and diligent work. removing all those wood chips from the wetland. I have a couple of pictures, but they're literally, it's only 3. All of the, practically every single wood chip is gone from the wetland. I mean, obviously there's a few, but they did an amazing job. They pulled everything really back from the wetland. They have, I guess, applied some loam, and they have planted the plantings that we talked about, and they've seeded it. So on the whole, it's looking really good. And I told them that I would let you know that that is the case. And I think we're expecting, Mary Trudeau is going to follow up with a short report just to say this is what we did, and, you know, showing us the plantings that they bought. But on the whole, I'm pretty happy with how it's looking. I would suggest, or what I suggested to them that I would suggest to you is that the commission could do a visit, maybe later in the summer, just to see how it's coming along. But I told them, gave them like a warning, if that's the right word, that we would be unlikely to close out the enforcement order until the end of the growing season, just to see how everything is starting to come in. Anybody have any comments on that?
That's very good news.
Yeah, I'm very glad to hear that, yeah.
Okay.
Cool. That sounds like a decent plan. We'll go check it out later in the growing season.
It sounds like the owners were very responsive to the situation.
They were. Right.
Very good.
That's,
very rewarding.
Yep.
tell them that the commission says thank you.
A lot of people don't get anything like that,
Right.
not even things.
Okay, next item. Larry had some comments on this Massachusetts Ready Act.
All right, about a month ago, or over a month ago, we submitted a letter to our Beacon Hill legislators, to Ken Gordon as our rep, and to Sidney Friedman as our state senator, and to Robert Mariano and Karen Spilker, everybody in charge. And what we were talking about is, among many things, our concern about the Senate version that had some paragraphs in there that essentially said if you are proposing some type of housing that I guess some apartment or some kind of housing, that you would not have to comply with local bylaw. You can only comply with the state, but not local bylaw. You were exempt. Of course, in many cases, you know, I won't go citing them, we have bylaws and regulations that are more protective than what the state was able to offer. And so the commission at the time totally objected to that approach, and we wrote to them to say that. So I recently went and checked on the status of the bill. The one thing I don't know is whether that provision was removed or not removed, okay, because I couldn't find that information. But the two chambers have advanced slightly different versions of the legislation. And the first version is from the House version, and it focuses on streamlining permitting. The Senate version has different things on it, and it has requirements on restricting single-use plastic bags and a lot of things, and they want to expand the MVP program. So even though they said they're slightly different, they sound actually pretty different to me. So both bills aim to authorize borrowing for capital projects that affect climate change, protect drinking water, PFAS remediation, inland infrastructure, coastal infrastructure, and so forth. Now, this general session ends July 31st, the formal session. The total session ends January of '27. But between July 31st and January 27, you can't pass anything that might be controversial. And this is likely to be controversial. So they have to squeeze all this in by the end of July and either vote on it or take a pass. So anyway, so this is called the Mass Ready Act, and it does focus heavily on cutting regulatory tape and streamlining environmental permitting. One of the things I was surprised that they were saying that the bill eliminates duplicative administrative appeals, okay, and appeals of if someone is appealing a local conservation commission decision, They can't go to DEP for $25 or whatever it is and seek a superseding order if they don't like what we do. In this bill, it says that they have to go to Superior Court, and because DEP takes a while before they make a decision. Well, that's too bad, but that's going to cost an applicant a lot of money to go to Superior Court. I can't believe that that's what they're going to, okay? And then there's a bunch of other things in here. You can read the details, but the Mass Association of Conservation Commission likes certain things that are currently in the bills, and they don't like certain things that are in the bills. The things that they like are in the bill is speeding up of restoration. The commissions, they favor fast-tracking permits for salt marsh and wetlands for restoration projects to quickly implement nature-based climate solutions. The MACC likes that. They also like to extend flexibility for minor work. In other words, they would like invasive management or local sign-off instead of a full public hearing process. They think, I guess what they would do is they would extend to our staff the ability to say, okay, you can do an invasive species management without any. And then climate resilience, they support updating the State Wetlands Protection Act to explicitly include climate resilience as a core protective interest. We added that to our wetlands bylaw, that climate resilience was added as one of the interests, and now they're finally getting around in the state law to putting that in. And so MACC says, well, we like that. Now, what they don't like is they caution against treating commercial housing and infrastructure the same as ecological restoration. They argue that fast-tracking housing projects should not come at the expense of protecting wetlands. That's where what was proposed in the Senate version was a problem. They don't like bypassing mass DEP appeals and requiring the applicant to go straight to Superior Court. Just because it saves time, okay, that it means that if someone takes us to Superior Court, we have to hire the legal stuff to defend our position, and we don't have towns don't have the budgets for that, okay? So it's creating a lot of money being spent when in reality, sometimes these could be resolved at the DEP level with a superseding order. They either uphold what we do or they don't. Overriding local bylaws. Commissions, this is what I think is still in the bill. Commissions are strongly fighting sections of the bill that would eliminate local wetland bylaws for municipal culvert replacements. They didn't say for housing, though. So I don't know what they did with the housing aspect. They were trying to exempt complying with our bylaw and regulations if they were doing housing. So I have to inquire further. And finally, lack of clear definitions they object to. Local officials are concerned about the vague language surrounding the word negligible or insignificant wetlands impacts, like I guess invasive management or whatever. I don't quite know what they're referring to. Okay, so there are some good things that the commission probably agrees with, and there are some things which we should be opposing. I think the biggest thing is how is that language that we originally wrote to them about? Now, the thing that was somewhat disheartening, I ran across our state senator and asked her, I said, what'd you think of that letter that we sent? And her response was, what letter? So I said, well, we sent you a letter about the environmental bond bill, and our state senator is up there in the pecking order, okay, and her staff didn't show it to her? I have no idea. I know Lucy sent it because she sent me a copy of what was signed, and I remember signing it. So that's not the issue. I will follow up with her to see whether that provision we objected to is still in the Senate version. Apparently, the status of the legislation is that the House has passed their version, and and I believe the Senate, it's going to go to a joint committee. They have some kind of a joint committee to reconcile a House version and a Senate version. So I think it's in that process now, and there's going to be some intense work over the next few weeks. So I'll do some more nosing around, and I'll get back to you folks when I find out anything.
Great. Thanks for following up on that, Larry.
One thing that I found very beneficial, I helped with Cindy with the caretaker, or the home part of living, and my wife was seriously ill. And I said, I gotta talk to Cindy. I keep hearing it, and it should be a bill or something created that would help the caretaker at home benefit from the hard work they do. A lot of them have to leave their jobs. I partially left mine. And she put the bill in. 2 years later, she got a bill.
Good for her, good for you.
By that time, my wife was, committed. But it does work. But I
Did you write her letters, or did you call her?
I called her and she invited me into the State House. And she put me on the floor, and I was sitting amongst other senators, and they all were asking questions. So I never left the floor. Everything just got talked out right there.
Good for you.
Good, excellent.
I actually enjoyed every bit of it, because I'd never done that before. But the bill got put in place. It's a lot of questions, what type of illness, all that.
Sure.
Clearly it was dealt with,
This was for home care.
our home care. So she was home 100% of the time.
You do know a lot of these home care situations are being paid for by Medicaid, and the federal government supports that, and they are thinking of pulling that. And so that's going to force the people that are staying at home at a much lower cost, they're going to force them into nursing homes.
Yeah, that's why, for the most part, I ended up committed her to a place in Lexington.
Right.
Well, we were gonna maybe
talk
about
Right.
But it helps.
Sure.
I mean,
Yes.
Cindy loves to have a visitor.
Good.
And you
Good to
will
know.
learn who the staff member is that's gonna go do all the work. That's when you know you got home. You get out there, you find this guy, that gal, she puts them in place. She
Terrific.
doesn't have to do it.
Yeah, no, she's very good. Okay. Anything else?
Okay, yeah, one last item, I believe. Eileen and I attended the public information session on the Eversource station that's being built in town. The substation, it's being built off of Mill Street. We visited there to do a ANRAD, I believe, at one time to delineate the wetlands. Well, now they're trying to get to the point of starting the project. So they had a public information session. It was interesting. It was pretty well attended. There's a lot of Eversource people there as well to answer questions. I think a quarter of the crowd was Eversource employees, just to make sure they're able to answer any questions that came up, I think. But it was very informative. A lot of input from the people in the audience. The gentleman that was in charge of presenting, he, was thanking everybody for giving them the information, and everything that came up will be addressed, and, that type of thing will be considered. Questions were raised like, why did you choose this site? Why didn't you choose this site or that site instead? And, they gave good answers about balancing all of the considerations. One thing that came up that caught our ears was they were talking about this ledge on the site. And of course, the first hand went up immediately. Are they going to be blasting? And of course, the answer was blasting's not permitted. What about they're going to be pounding on that rock to break it? And he said, maybe, but we have a new technique where we inject chemicals into the ground that break the rock. And of course, Eileen and I both looked at each other like, what the heck is he talking about? Could you define that a little better? So I asked him about that. I raised my hand. I said, what are you talking about, chemicals? He's going to get more information. I kind of Googled it. The only guy I could come up with similar was there was a technique for drilling into the rock and pouring in a cement of some sort that's an expanding cement, and it has tremendous pressure in the process of expanding, and then it shatters the rock that way. Now, that's what he's talking about? I don't know, but it was just interesting.
What they
to hear
do
that.
with oil wells is they drill down and they inject a fracturing fluid.
Right.
And then they put it in under pressure, and it goes, and that way it opens up the veins.
Right, it cracks the rock, which is what they're trying to
Highways
do.
are doing that.
Fracking in Burlington.
Cliff,
Yeah,
you see nothing but ice on it during the winter.
Yes.
You used to see it I used to work with my dad's company to do the drilling. And that's, how far down do I have to go?
Sure, they're dead now.
You gotta ask the guy over there who's doing it. It's basically about 10 feet.
This is probably,
So one thing that's interesting about this project is it's not approved by us, right? Eileen, you want to talk about that a little bit?
do you mind if I just give you guys the background? But we can be quick and we can talk about it more another time. Right, so following the 2024 Climate Act, I do have some notes here and I'm just going to remind myself. They created the Clean Energy Infrastructure Facilities category. And now the EFSB, the Energy Facility Siting Board, can issue permits for transmission or energy production, clean energy production projects.
This is a state-level board.
State level board. So they can issue all necessary permits at the state, regional, local permits in a single proceeding. So there's a consolidated permit, which is for the large projects, and then there's consolidated state permit for the small ones. This project comes under the category of large permit. That means that, exactly as Bill said, we do not have a separate notice of intent process anymore. However, this new process does establish points where we can have input. So Conservation Commission, Planning, Select Board, and also basically anybody in town can comment on this. We can suggest conditions such as we would have in an order of conditions for them to incorporate into their application. So their application actually has to include the conditions that they think are suitable for this whole project. Okay.
Who decides which conditions go in? They do?
Well, I think that the applicant can decide which conditions go into their application. However, there's, let me make sure I'm not missing anything. There's a pre-filing consultation and engagement. That's part of what they did last night. They will also be engaging separately in town with those various boards. After it's filed, it's checked for completeness, then there's evidentiary hearings, and then parties can request legal intervention, then you have the decision process. So it goes from drafts to comments to deliberations. So at various points along the way, we can have input into what the conditions are, but it's not up to us in the end whether they all get included. It would really be up to the EFSB, is my general understanding. But this is all pretty new. It hasn't even formally gone into place yet. It goes into place in the beginning of July. There haven't been any filings that have been done under this yet. We're going to have probably one of the first in Burlington, as far as I know. Let me see if there's anything else that...
They will come and present to us here.
They will.
Yeah.
Can I just say this one bit that is relevant to us? Compliance does involve the state and local agencies. So say they get their permit, which has to be done within a 15-month period. That's part of this whole process is to try to expedite clean energy projects. That's why they have established this process. So once it goes into place, the Conservation Commission will basically be overseeing the conditions that we would have applied. That's my understanding, but again, this is all super new. What was your question again, Bill, to make sure I address that?
They will be coming here to present
Yes.
to us, you know?
Yes.
So we can ask them more questions.
They
at
will,
that time.
exactly. So, what's his name? Oh my God, I can't remember his name. One of the guys that
Ian.
that
Was
we've
it
been
Ian?
dealing with, no, not Ian.
Presenter?
One of the guys that we've been dealing with in Eversource, and I apologize if he happens to watch this meeting. We have talked a little bit about this. They are going to be submitting a notice of intent, probably in August, for some of the work prior to this process. They're going to do some geotechnical work to kind of establish where exactly things are going to go, like the overground structures. So we are going to get a notice of intent for that, either at that time or close to that time. They have offered to come in and present to us a little bit more about the whole overall project, so we can start to have some input into that, and we can discuss what their conditions should look like.
Is this that site where we delineated back a while ago?
Yes, it is. Oh, I'm sorry, I guess we didn't explain that.
Yeah.
Why don't you?
And they're not only going to have above-ground transmission, they're going to have some underground transmission lines through Burlington as well, which will involve digging up the main strags and stuff like that. But it eliminates some of the overhead stuff. They're going to have, I think, 15 new towers that will be in the same right-of-way as the existing towers, just adding more visible stuff. So it's an interesting process. And one of the reasons for this is the need for it. The substation that we have down on Middlesex Turnpike is overloaded. And if you remember, a couple of years ago, they came in front of us because they added a mobile second station to it, a substation, whatever you want to call it, because they needed it. Well, this will eliminate the need for that mobile thing to be there. But right now, it's so overloaded, they had to drag a truck-loaded version of another substation temporarily.
Is this related to the letters that we get that talk automation with them?
I don't
They
believe so.
use that word, to be automated, and it's also house to house to house to house ultimately.
Oh,
I don't think this is part of that.
Is that the new
I
meters?
don't know what,
They're the new meters, that's the new meters I think you're talking about.
Oh.
Well,
New-
they're
like-
changing the face of the meter right now, which they've
no,
done.
it's nothing to do with
mine.
meters.
Right, this is the total available electricity for the community.
So Larry was correct. Do you remember a few years ago, we had an ANRAD for, out at Wynn Street, Locust, that sort of direction?
Yeah.
And we looked at the wetland resources out there, and they delineated it, and you approved the delineation. They're proposing to put the substation out there and then have their various transmission lines and distribution coming off that, more or less, is the very, 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 very nutshell project. But it's all sort of up in the air, because I did ask them, how are we supposed to be able to impose conditions if we can't see, like, the detailed plans for this proposal? But in a way, we're lucky in that they are going to do the notice of intent for the geotechnical stuff, so we are going to get a fairly close look at least the general Burlington gist of it. So that should help. Do you have a comment, Rob?
I don't know if this was addressed at all with,
Mm-hmm.
I saw some of I didn't see this meeting, but I've seen some of the previous presentations
Yeah.
they made.
It was
about,
the same as they gave the select board.
Yeah, I think, like, how the project will impact public access or private recreation. Because I think at one point they were saying they might need to use part of the Mill Pond Reservoir Road for access or something. And
Yeah,
so I'm
they
wondering
have-
also about, like, Rihanna's Park that sort of runs right, it's like right in the middle of the right of way. But yeah, that might be at some point.
They probably are going to be going
Yeah.
near Mill Pond. Yeah, I've seen some of those proposals.
Yeah.
Because they have been having regular meetings with some members of staff for a couple of years now. I wasn't included initially, but then I was, and then they just haven't had very many meetings recently. So it's just this whole process is very new.
Yeah.
And
yeah,
a lot of
to me.
people are concerned that they're going to be bypassed, that we're going to be bypassed. So it'll be very interesting to figure out how this works. There is going to be a conditions conference as well, which allows agencies, including us, to sit down and discuss conditions. That's after the evidentiary process. Can I suggest that anybody who wants to know more about this, MACC has provided a couple of lunch and learn, like 50-minute presentations on this. They're available on their website. I'll send everybody the link to that, and I would suggest you maybe look at the one that's sort of, it's something like, this is the basics. I can't remember what the title is, but it'll be the one that's the basics, and then the one for the large infrastructure, because that's the one that's relevant to us. If you watch those two, that'll give you a good grounding.
I think I also saw, just a couple years ago, through the same state, sort of state process that they're using, there was another replacement of the towers, upgrading of the, I think like the 69 kilovolt towers to the, whatever one, I don't remember exactly, but I think there's, that went through a number of maybe like 5 or 6 towns, and you could sort of see that process and all of the, like, the report that they made, that they sort of distributed for the town. But, yeah, I'm not sure how.
That might be very similar, because they did do it in a similar way before, but now they've kind of consolidated everything to
Yeah.
streamline it more.
Okay, yeah.
And to include more of these particular projects.
And the whole Eversource, the whole area where the substation is going is on Eversource-owned property, so. And some people down there were saying, oh, it's on conservation land, and it's not. It's Eversource-owned property. Some of the right-of-way goes through conservation land and things like that, where the towers are now. But they're gonna stay within the same right-of-way that they already have.
They do a cumulative impact analysis, that's part of their actual application, in case anybody is a bit concerned about some of that. And a site suitability assessment, it's required for all projects. And they also have to use the new mass screening tool, which, so when they put their application in, it's sort of automatically tallied to see how it fits in the sort of rating scale. It's not that they assign themselves a score, it gets done automatically. So anyway, there's a lot to learn with that process, and it's going to affect us directly. So we should all learn a bit more about it.
And there was
So
considerable community interest too, so, you know, we have to be aware of that.
are you open to the idea that they would actually come into us and give us a presentation about this project and about the new siting process and how we get involved?
Yes. I think we need the education.
Everybody, okay?
Okay, is that it on that topic?
Yep.
Any other new business? Thanks for sitting through all that, but it was a good night to do it, where we had only 2 items on the agenda. So, with that in mind, can I have a motion to adjourn the meeting?
So moved.
Second.
All in favor? Meeting is adjourned.